Well, hello there. What is going on, everyone? We're kicking off the live stream watch party for Ministravaganza. It is November 15th, and we're about a half an hour away from the start of the festivities. I do these typically, most times they have a Ministravaganza whenever I can, and this is basically an opportunity for us to hang out, chat with you guys. Let's talk to each other. What's going on, Rez? What's going on? That random clone. This is a fun time. We're going to get roadmaps. Now, roadmaps are basically a term for all of the stuff that is going to be announced, the timeline of when we can expect things, also previews of what we might expect to see in the past. When it's time for Ministravaganza, I'll switch over. It'll be a little bit like this. And we'll switch over to the Twitch channel. You can watch on their Twitch channel. It's Atomic Mass Games over on Twitch, or you can watch here with me, or you can do both. Because I'll be in both places, and I know some people don't always have access to Twitch. Some people don't always have, or don't have a Twitch account or whatever. So if you I'm just giving people more options, and that's part of it. If there's a downtime in between the streams, we'll come back here. We'll talk about what they talked about. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Also, we are going to do some giveaways, so stay tuned for that. We've got some cool promos to give away from several different games and IPs even. And also, we're doing 12 Days of Life Day as well, and that is going on in December, and all you have to do to enter one of the 12 giveaways in December is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. It's as simple as that. Also, a little thing about the 12 Days of Life Day and then the giveaways, patrons will have an opportunity, anything that goes unclaimed, because from time to time there are giveaway gifts that don't get claimed. One of the reasons is I announce winners at the end of my videos. Those giveaways normally roll over into the next one. That's one of the reasons I do them a little more frequently than I used to. But for 12 Days of Life Day, anything that goes unclaimed gets given out to patrons after 30 days. So I give you basically the month of January, and then patrons, come February time, we'll be able to get anything that goes unclaimed. There's always a couple of things that tends to go unclaimed. It's just the nature of things. So, and if everything gets claimed, then they'll just be bonus giveaways, and I'll come up with something else for patrons. But that's kind of how the nature of everything. What's going on, everybody in chat? We see Jens from Belgium. We've got Stylish Jedi. Yes, thanks for the reminder. Yeah. Well, it's one of the reasons I'm here. I had other things that I wanted to do today, but I don't think any of it topped getting cool news. Got my coffee here. My lovely wife made me some coffee, which was very cool. But random clones coming in from Pennsylvania. Riccolo, I'm going to get some of your names wrong. Rich Lou from Ohio. We've got Jeffrey from Wichita, Kansas, and Felix from I'm guessing from Frankfurt in Germany. What is going on, everybody? We are, and this is how this is going to work. We're going to do some giveaways. We've got some cool promos and things like that to give away. But the more giveaways we get, or the more viewers we get, the more giveaways we'll do. So for every 100 viewers, we'll add a little bit more to the giveaways. They'll be a little more frequent. So that's how that will work. We're gonna kick one of these off. This one's gonna run for the entirety, so I'm gonna announce this one at the end of the Legion stream. This one is going to be for a Mandalorian. What do they call this? Promo. These are the Mandalorian Resistance, the Rebel, the two-sided promo. So that is cool, and that's what's going on here. So, but we're gonna be talking. I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you are. Let me know what your thoughts are for the stream. Now, we're kicking things off with Shatterpoint. Do we have any Shatterpoint people here? I see Gungans. Please be Gungans. I want to know some more of your predictions. I've heard, in my Discord, there were quite a few interesting predictions that were being made. There was some that, everything from Darth not Plagueis. I think I saw a Plagueis somewhere. Sidious to Gungans. Oh, Cal Kestis. Oh, that's an interesting one. What's going on? Well, we got a lot of folks. We're almost at 50 right now, which is pretty good for such an early start. we are about 25 minutes away from everything kicking off. I will not be talking over the stream. We'll go silent here. Shatterpoint, Legion, and MCP. A lot of minis to paint. Let me know what games you're playing also in the chat, because I have covered Shatterpoint. I've covered Marvel Crisis Protocol, but I usually cover Legion. I also covered X-Wing and Armada. Still cover Armada pretty good amount. B3s. What are B3s? Now I'm gonna have to look up what a B3 is. I don't know what a let me look that up. B3 battle droid, I'm guessing. Well, those just look like B2s. It's just an ultra version of B3s. Are those canon? I don't know if that's like a real canon thing. Yeah. So that's an interesting one. Why does the Legion say in PM and not AM? Because noon, at the time that Legion is, now this is Pacific Standard Time, noon is always considered PM. If it was 12 AM, that would be midnight. 11:50, 1 minute before that is AM. But this is noon Pacific Standard Time. I'm in Eastern Standard Time. So for us, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Wait, hold on. Let me do my math here. This is getting ready to start at 1. 10, 11, 12, 1. Right. So 12 should be 1, 2, 3. So this is getting ready to start at 3. Yeah. Thought so. And then my numbers. I grew an extra finger, and so my numbers got all mixed up. Oh my goodness! Well, I clearly have to drink the rest of my coffee and finish waking up. I am really interested to see what's going to happen with Shatterpoint. There hasn't been as much Shatterpoint news lately, and I feel like it's kind of gotten a little bit fallen a little bit by the wayside. I know there's definitely people playing it. I just don't know how that compares to like the larger scope of miniatures games as a whole. I would guess that it's by far their least performing game. But that's not necessarily, I'm not trying to trash on Shatterpoint. It's just more of a testament to MCP and Legion being very successful. But I'm curious, because they announced 2 expansions, both from Ahsoka, that were going to be at like the Witch, the Dathomir stuff, and then the Balin Skull box for Shatterpoint. They announced those at Adepticon, so I think they'll preview those, probably give a roadmap for like some reprints and maybe terrain or something like that. I think that was one thing that they're going to lean into. Is my prediction is they're going to lean into terrain with Shatterpoint, because it's a safe bet. If they do, because they're kind of doing this combination thing, and it was spoiled a while back, where there's like a combo box of both Shatterpoint terrain and Legion terrain, and they're putting it in one box as just a terrain box. I think they're actually branding it for Legion, but of course you can use the terrain for whichever games you want. So that's kind of what I think is going on here. Also, we do have a new sponsor, a kind of new. We've worked with them plenty of times before, but we have a discount code. If you guys are interested in checking out Battle Foam, we have a discount code over at Battle Foam, which you can use to save 15%. It's Crabbok VIP. And I'm trying out the scrolling marquee thing right now. This is new. If you guys have watched me for a while, the scrolling marquee at the top, that's all new. Hopefully it's not too big, and hopefully it doesn't distract. It will not be there when we switch over to the live stream, by the way. So we're trying something new. We'll see how it works. Is the Shatterpoint terrain a smidge too big for Legion? No, I don't think so, because most of what it is just buildings and just blocky kind of outcroppings and stuff. I don't think it really is. The only thing that might be kind of in question a little bit is like doors or things that are specifically scaled to a human form. And those are so close that I think it's fine. Yeah. I don't think that's an issue. I think the terrain works equally well for the both of them. And since you don't actually use doors, I don't think it really makes that much. Yeah, 40 millimeter versus 32 millimeter, it's very close. The only problem is you have is if you try to run them both together, they just don't look right if they're side by side. Especially with that one for Krennic. Did you see the Krennic model for Shatterpoint? And he was scaled about 10 to 15% larger than everybody else, and I'm like, wow, he looks like a basketball player. He's massive. So like sometimes things like that can happen. But yes, so you hope the Saber tanks come back into stock. Rez says that's a good one. Yeah, we actually we had a Saber tank kind of donated up to QuestCon Crucible tournament at QuestCon this past September, the big tournament here in Orlando. Which, so if you were playing that, there was one there. But yeah, it was cool. An Umbara Battle Force, very interesting, very interesting. I think there'd be some. I think there's some stuff for that. I'm trying to think. What was the planet they were on in the Clone Wars movie? I don't think that was Umbara. Was that Christophsis when you first met Ahsoka for the very first time, with like the hex patterns and stuff on the ground? That would be a cool battlefield. Trying to get my planets. Sometimes my planets from the Clone Wars kind of meld together. I've got about 19 minutes or so until they kick things off. We're going to keep things going. So just in case you guys hadn't heard, we're going to be doing some giveaways. So make sure you share this video. The more subscribers or the more viewers we get, the more giveaways we'll add. We're starting off with a Mandalorian Resistance promo, so you guys don't have a chance to win that. Give me a hashtag Mando in the chat. We'll ask that a couple of times. Hashtag Mando in the chat if you want a chance to win that. So that is a thing that's going to happen. Let's see. Also, I want to know some more of your predictions. I want to hear some Shatterpoint specific predictions because those are coming up first. Of course, you can also drop your MCP and Legion predictions. I think most of you are probably here for Legion, but they're doing Shatterpoint first. Shatterpoint's going to kick things off. I feel like I don't know if they're going to go the whole hour for all three of these. Shatterpoint. My prediction is that Shatterpoint will have the least new stuff announced out of all three games, where Legion will have the most, and MCP probably close to Legion. That's my thoughts on it, but I don't know. I might be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. Oh, there's a lot of hashtag Mando entries. All right, look at you guys. Look at you guys go. Let's see. Shatterpoint, you hope, starts moving to the expanded universe. I don't know if they're going to do that. They could. I know it would be really nice if Disney started doing a little bit more like Legends specific stuff. But I feel like they're going in a direction that's like Legends adjacent or parallel to Legends. Like, I'm really interested to see how Ahsoka Season 2 works with Thrawn. We're supposed to have a big space battle. And I think they're doing things that are very similar. Prediction, it's going to cost an arm and a leg. Shatterpoint, Bill Burr. Now, do you mean Bill Burr, the sniper character from Mando? Or do you mean just Bill Burr, like, as a stand-up comedian? Anyway, like his character comes out in the battlefield and he's like, hey, what's the matter here? You know what really bugs me? like that. Is that his one of his abilities? I don't know. I apologize for the terrible Bill Burr impression. Oh gosh, that would be really funny. You want Legends content so bad. You can kind of get some of the Legends content in Legion now with with the custom commanders and stuff. Like, you could make, like, you can kind of build out, like, what would a Revan be. I think Revan is definitely a possibility, but I don't know if you're going to get, like, a whole lot of stuff beyond that. I think they will want to kind of hold off until they can, like, reintroduce Mara Jade and do stuff like that. Yeah. So the Legends stuff in Unlimited was interesting. It was very selective. It wasn't a whole lot of Legends stuff, but also the card games, I don't know. Yeah, that was surprising to me that they did that. I don't think it was that much, though. I think it was a lot of stuff from, like, KOTOR, wasn't it? Did they do any, like, they didn't do, like, Mara Jade or anything like that, did they? Or, let's see. What's something else that's firmly in Legends that... Because, from what I understand, there's, like, a weird place where, like, the BioWare, the KOTOR games, are kind of exist in a separate pocket that like Disney's more friendly to, because there's still that MMO going, so there's still a license for them to continue to make that stuff. It was like some kind of perpetual license, and so because of that, that particular pocket of Legends has been allowed to kind of continue to exist. So I think that's why all the KOTOR stuff is kind of okay for people to do, which does mean if Legion announces another faction, or if Shatterpoint goes into another era, Old Republic era, especially the KOTOR stuff or the MMO stuff, the BioWare stuff, is definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I don't know. I feel like, let me know what you think. If Shatterpoint was going to go into a new era that they're not in already, because it's easier for Shatterpoint to do this because they can just drop like 4 people and then they're done, right? Or maybe 2 packs. You know, like you get 2 packs. That's a whole army, a whole build completely within that new era. So you could do, a sequel trilogy, some of the stuff. You could do the High Republic stuff. You could do Old Republic stuff. You could do anything in between, right? You could do stuff from what was the show, The Acolyte. You could do stuff like that, right? So like, let me know your predictions where you think that they're going to go with that. So yeah. All right, I'm prepping a few things real quick, and also give me a hashtag Mando again in chat if you want a shot to win that Mandalorian. Now this isn't going to be announced until the end of the Legion stream, so keep that in mind. So let's see. All right. Let me check out some of what you guys are doing here. Shatterpoint prediction from Chicago Hobby Hero. Terrain pack for Camino, clone trainees, heavy Echo 5. Oh yeah, Domino Squad. That'd be a really cool one. I wouldn't mind seeing Domino Squad and Legion also, in all of the games, but that's one that kind of is long overdue. They had a really cool arc, their whole story arc. It's a shame it was out of order though, because I really liked Heavy, and I would have loved to have seen Heavy do more. It also makes me want to see Star Wars do like a what if, like a multiverse or something like that. I'd love it if they would do Star Wars what ifs, and that would just be incredible. I love it. Are we getting stuff for Ahsoka for Shatterpoint? Maybe a Night Troopers Enoch? Yeah, they announced some stuff like that at Adepticon. Do you not like Unlimited? I noticed you don't cover it. I thought Star Wars Unlimited was a very cool game. I do like Star Wars Unlimited. I just don't play it anymore. The simple thing is it's like a cost benefit or juice worth the squeeze kind of thing. I really enjoyed it at first. I had fun like building decks and stuff, and then with there was a drop in availability. You couldn't get stuff for a little while, and then that kind of hurt some of the initial momentum. And then I think after set 2 came out, I was like, oh, I got things that want to go in these decks, but now I have to completely rip apart these decks, and then and I was like, wait, if I keep doing this every 3 months or whatever, when a new set comes out, I'm going to have to sit down, reorganize everything. How am I going to sort all of this stuff? Am I going to go into binders and all of this? And I'm like, this is a great problem to have if this is my only game that I play, because I can spend an entire week or 2 just trying to reorganize stuff every time a new set comes out. Trying to rebuild my decks, and trade and, buy singles and get all the, the things that I wanted to do. I just don't have the time to do that. If they had a digital client for the game, I would absolutely play that. If they had like a Hearthstone client or Magic the Gathering Arena version of Star Wars Unlimited, I'd be in 100%. And I would cover it and everything. However, since it's a physical game and it's just becoming a little too difficult for me I'll still talk about it once in a while. I think I covered it when they announced some of the KOTOR heroes. But it's just a game I'm not really keeping up with for that reason. It's just going to become too hard. It's one of the reasons I stopped playing X-Wing, is that it just, at a certain point, it was just too hard to put a list together and to find all the little cardboard pieces. Like, where's the Wedge Antilles X-Wing Because like I lost a Wedge Antilles X-Wing cardboard one time and couldn't run him for like the longest time, and it was just like, why do we have individual pilots printed on each cardboard chit? It's not really needed for that, and just became cumbersome, and it became way too difficult to just find the stuff I needed to field things. So and that's one of the reasons, like for Legion, like I don't use cards at all anymore outside of command cards and battle cards. Like I don't use unit cards, upgrade cards, any of that anymore. Because it's just they're for one, they're always getting changed, and there's errata always happening, so they're usually not correct. They happen to be correct now, but what'll happen in 6 months, right? What might happen after today? There's probably gonna be points and things changed after this very stream, so that is definitely a thing. But yeah, so that's the I need games to be like easier to play for me, easier to get them to table, and printing out my own cards really helps. But I can't do that with Star Wars Unlimited as easily. Although it is kind of possible. I could proxy everything, but I'm not really a big fan of doing that too much. If I were going to proxy a card game, I think I would go with old school Magic the Gathering and get some of the original stuff. I think that's what I would do. I think that would be fun. So if you guys are just joining us, the stream schedule, Shatterpoint is coming up first. This is starting in about 9 minutes. Then they're going to have Marvel Crisis Protocol an hour after that, and then an hour after that they're going to kick off Star Wars Legion. Now Legion may run overtime. We don't know how much stuff they have announced or planned to announce for Legion. It may be very little. It may be a whole lot. My prediction is this going to be somewhere in the middle. I think we'll probably get about 4 to 6 new things, either fully spoiled or just lightly teased, but updates on existing things like the probe droids and the Weequay pirates and things like that. Things that have already been announced. I think we'll see more of those. I think they'll talk about organized play for all 3 games. Why the heck did they put ads in the live stream? Yeah, I can't control. I can do more ads. Let me see if I can tell them to... Oh, I can say delay ads. So here's what will happen is... All right, they're always changing this, and I don't live stream every day. When the stream starts, I'll tell them to... There's a delay ads button. I can stop ads for all of this. So that would be a good thing. But yeah. The good thing is... The good thing is the ads on YouTube are a lot better than the ads on Twitch. I have been watching... ads on Twitch, and they are like, they're not skippable, and they're like really long. Like it's been like 2 or 3 minutes of like just straight ads before, and it's been rough. I much prefer it when the ads are like kind of off to the side. So yeah. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and push the insert ad button now. We're gonna see if this works. There may be a quick little thing, but that'll hopefully tell the algorithm not to do any more ads for a little while, because you're going to get one now. I'm going to see if this works. So bear with me. I'm trying not to do too many. Yeah, that's why I don't have any on my website. All right. We'll see if that worked. You can let me know if you got one or not. Yeah, no. So it's okay. So I am trying to respond to the chat. There's a lot. Sometimes a question gets me going. But yes, we're doing giveaways. We're over 100, so we're going to have a second giveaway, which is very cool. So keep sharing this link out with your groups and your friends, and if we get to 200, we'll add another one. Maybe we'll do a different game for the other one. I've got some really cool Armada giveaways, like this promo Intensify Firepower. Which is a pretty cool one for Armada, which maybe we'll give that one away a little bit later on. Am I going to update my Legion AI? I saw a question on that just recently. I hadn't gotten back to it yet. I am planning to do that. It's just probably going to be after the holidays. But yeah, it's definitely... it was a 5-second skippable ad. Thank you, Steven. Yeah, I am planning to update that. It's just been one of those things that has been... overwritten by other priorities and other things happening, and I have like a kind of a loaded schedule for next week. We're going to be looking at a new Witcher game by Go On Board that's getting ready to start. We're going to be looking at, we've got more Star Wars Legion stuff like Grievous and the wheel bikes and stuff like that. So we've got things in the queue, and there's always when you do content every day like I do, it's big projects like redesigning an AI. They take a lot of time and effort, and I've thought about it, and I also wanted to wait and see, because I want to see what they're going to announce. If they're going to say, hey, there's also a new change to the gameplay, and now, because there's new battle cards that are going to be coming out, and I want to have an idea of how the game is going to look, if I'm going to refine an AI for it. So there's some of that. There's some of that. So it is in the queue. It is in the planning process. But yes, you hope they leak the Thrawn cards. I am definitely expecting to see some Thrawn stuff. We've got about 5 minutes. 5-minute warning. AMG is going to be. They are. So just so you guys can get an idea, it'll be a little bit like this. So that is a thing. Here, let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So we'll be able to watch in full screen, and we'll have a real good time with that. So yeah, so Shatterpoint will be coming up first. Let me get back to some of the stuff that I missed. I'm sorry if I did miss any of your comments or whatever. You've got YouTube Premium. You don't see ads. Rock and roll. That's a good way to do it. But yes. Let's see if I can skip ahead. So some of you didn't get the ads. Some of you did. Okay. How good of a place do you feel the game is since it's been taken over by AMG? I think it was a rocky start for a little while. I didn't have much confidence in them after the X-Wing and Armada stuff. But after seeing this new launch for the new edition and getting my hands on some of the new minis, I am really thinking that they've turned a corner, and this is like a new direction for it. There's definitely some pros and cons. There's some things that I'm not crazy about with the game. I'm thinking a new battle card pack could help that, because every game kind of feels, hey, let's babysit an objective, and I'm getting a little stale on that kind of gameplay. But overall, they're still really cool. From a hobby standpoint, the miniatures have really been a massive improvement. The gameplay has had its ups and downs. There's some changes they've made that I've liked, but there's also been some that I'm not in favor of. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes in the future. But that's kind of my thought. Is overall, it's still kind of good. But I have some suggestions of things, and I have like this running tally, like a Google Doc, that every time I think of something, I put it in there, of like pros and cons since AMG has taken over. So that's how we're gonna do it, and definitely give me feedback, and if you think anything needs to be turned up or turned down or whatever, and we'll do all of that. So yeah, we're at 129, which is good. Keep sharing this out. We'll get more and more as it goes. But yes, can you tell us how you and AMG had a falling out? I think we're okay. Obviously, I've been pretty critical of some of the things that they've done. So we're not like best friends, but I don't. It's like we still talk, you know. It's very neutral, and the interesting thing about that is it means that I can give very honest feedback and honest opinions on stuff. Like, I have no arrangement with them. They don't send me anything. They won't even do interviews with me right now. but we still talk, we still communicate. So it's like I don't know, it's like in a trust but verify kind of relationship that we have right now. So I have no incentive to be like extra nice or extra mean or anything like that. So I just try to be honest about stuff. I don't, I'm not a big fan of Shatterpoint. I really enjoy Marvel Crisis Protocol, and I'm cautiously optimistic about Legion. I still have a good time with Legion, but that's the one I cover the most because it's Star Wars and it's very cool stuff. I really do want Grand Army to be a thing for Legion, and if they don't announce that sometime soon, I may just kind of create one. It would be kind of here we go.
5. My name is Will Schick. I am the creative no, that's my old title. My actual title nowadays, as it's listed on the screen, is the VP of Creative Development and Strategy for Atomic Mass Games. I'm so glad that you could join us today. If you're unaware of what's going to be happening, we have 3 different segments for Ministravaganza today, each one covering one of our game lines. So we're going to start off with a little opening ceremonies. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ministravaganza, what to expect for the rest of the programming. And then we're going to dive right into Star Wars Shatterpoint. We're going to follow that up with a little bit of a break. And then we're going to dive into Marvel Crisis Protocol. And then we're going to wrap things up after a short break following the Marvel Crisis Protocol thing with the Star Wars Legion roadmap and, of course, a little bit of an outro. We're going to thank you all for coming and spending the day with us as we look at all the cool things to come. So for those who have joined us in the past for Ministravaganza, you might be wondering why one day? So Ministravaganza was kind of born in the height of the pandemic in 2020. So we're celebrating the 5th anniversary, effectively, of Ministravaganza. And at the time, we were a small studio. We were just getting started with Marvel Crisis Protocol. We were looking forward to going to Gen Con for the first year following the game's release. And all of a sudden, a global pandemic kicked in, and Gen Con was no more. It was canceled, just like every other in-person event. And this left us with a lot of questions as everyone, of course, grappled with what to do and what this meant for us. We were stuck inside. We couldn't go congregate with our friends as much as we used to, depending on our area and what was going on, all of these different things. And so as we talked about this internally through a Zoom meeting call that we were trying to struggle through and figure out how to do the teleconferencing thing, we came up with an idea. We had already started streaming early in the studio days, just to kind of like put ourselves out there, show the game off, do some fun hobby stuff, connect with the community. And we thought, what if we just tried to replicate the entire convention experience, but online? What if we did a full event of 3 days of streaming that was filled with all of the content that you normally would see if you had gone to Gen Con or gone to one of these shows? Could we do that? And we decided that let's give it a try, because what's the worst that could happen? And from there, Ministravaganza was born. We had a wonderful 3-day event. We saw lots of people come and join us. We did all of the classic things you would expect. We did panels with dev talks. We did hobby content. We did roadmaps. We did all this different stuff. And we struggled through. There were a couple hiccups along the way, but it went great. And players and the community really seemed to rally around it. It was a great way to kind of connect. We even had an after-hours hangout that happened. Fast forward to now, and Ministravaganza has been a thing that's happened multiple times per year. But of course, the world has changed. We're kind of back to where we are, where we're going back to full shows. We're at AdeptCon, we're at Gen Con, we're going to be at PAX Unplugged, some of us, next week, including our marketing director, Ross Thompson. And as we looked at these things and we said, okay, what can we do to better affect the time that we have available to us? Because, well, we are a decently sized team these days with 3 different game lines and everything. We got a lot to do, and there's more that we would like to accomplish than we have the time to do it. We said, why don't we look at Ministravaganza, what it is, and how we can kind of streamline, lean, and mean it up and make sure that it is hitting all of the beats that we want, in addition to allowing us the chance to do what we want to do overall in terms of community connection, talking with you all, letting you all know what's going on. And you'll notice, if you've been hanging out with us, that over the course of this year, we've really amped up and stepped up our game in terms of connecting with community podcasts and other different events, AMAs, those types of things. And we've really enjoyed what that has brought in terms of a dynamic and connected conversation with the community, being able to kind of address things more organically and just stay in touch more. And so we've pivoted a little bit to that, and we thought, well, why don't we maximize what we want to do with Ministrav, show off all the cool stuff. This is a really important second step in our roadmaps, for those who know. We do 2 of these per year. We do 1 at Adepticon, and we have our Ministravaganza one as well. So with all of that going on, we've got a whole slew of interviews with various community podcasts for all the different games going scheduled next week. That's going to be where we're really going to dive in and do some of the philosophical dev discussions, where we're going to talk more specifically about our thought process with various members of the team. Things that we would have normally done consolidated into a single panel in Ministrav, we're going to be able to spread across all of the different media outlets that cover these fantastic games next week. With that, what we're really going to focus on here is we're going to talk about all of the neat things that are coming in the roadmaps. We also have a lot of cool game content that's going to be dropped on you for each of the different games today. We're going to talk a bit about that as well. So regardless of which game you're here for, if you're here for one or multiples, hopefully you walk away with a lot of cool visions of the future. And also you're going to walk away today at some point as those articles and those documents get posted as we conclude Ministravaganza with a lot of neat game content that you're going to be able to go out and immediately start playing with as well. And you're also going to see some pretty cool videos that our team, Tony, who is behind the board running everything today, and our creative director, Dallas, have been putting together. If you've missing the hobby stuff that used to happen in Ministrav, you should be sure to check out various streams. I know Dallas was just on with Monument Hobbies last night doing some painting and talking about the techniques and all of that other good stuff. And he's also been working on an entire mountain of hobby content, both articles and others. If you haven't seen them, Tony and Dallas put together an entire slew of videos for getting started with the Legion hobby that went on our website as well. So we're finding new and different ways to kind of evolve what we do, make sure that we're always staying in touch with the community and offering all of the great content in the best way that we can for the games going forward. And with that, I think, all of us here are ready to get started and to dive in to Star Wars Shatterpoint as our first Ministravaganza 2025 roadmap. So with Star Wars Shatterpoint, the first things we're going to be looking at are the new releases coming out next year, so early next year, and those we previewed at Adepticon earlier in the year, and those are all based off of the Ahsoka Plus Disney show. We have 2 packs that are coming out. We're pretty excited about them, and we're going to be showing off the rules for some of those units today. I think Tony's going to hit the button at some point here. There we go. Thanks, Tony. Just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's all right. This is live. This is how it works. This is the fun of Ministrav. So Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati are the primary and the secondary characters from the Secure the Future squad pack. We had a lot of fun internally working on these characters and really trying to dive into the on-screen personalities that we see from them. Baylan Skoll was one that I jumped into with a gusto and made the original design for. My real thought was, how do we represent his kind of patient and wait-and-see attitude, right? He's not a man who goes out and does things impulsively. We see a very prepared, a very composed kind of former Jedi. And bringing back the hunker mechanic, which we had kind of explored with Obi-Wan, seemed like a really great way to do that. So he has a lot of fun ways to utilize those tokens with a new mechanic that is similar to what we've seen from Obi-Wan, a Jedi General, but is different and I think really fits what we see on screen with him. He really incentivizes you to wisely build up, your resources to plan your moment and then unleash a devastating strike. On the flip side, his apprentice, as we see in the show, and ideally on the tabletop here, is the exact kind of opposite of her master. She's very eager, she's reckless, she's aggressive, she doesn't want to wait. Impatience really drives the narrative for her. And you can, when we were playing, some of the fun stuff was really just seeing Baylan Skoll kind of like deeply sighing as he's like, do it this way, and she just doesn't listen, right? That classic master and apprentice dynamic. So we're really excited to see these. Of course, they come with the supporting HK droids. We'll be showing those off at a future moment. But hopefully you all are just as excited as we are to see these 2 really cool characters from that series land onto the Star Wars Shatterpoint tabletops. Accompanying them is another set of kind of villains from the show, and that is Morgan Elsbeth along with Captain Enoch and the Night Troopers. Most exciting, I think, is that Morgan Elsbeth returns us to a Night Sister primary for Shatterpoint. So if you're a big fan of Mother Talzin and the Night Sisters, you can now kind of use the flexibility and the squad building and strike team dynamics of Shatterpoint to be able to start to really flesh out that keyword even though canonically, they kind of exist after each other, but the fun of Shatterpoint is really doing that exploration and moving around. Enoch as a secondary character was one where, I think we all know that he is probably a very capable warrior, but what we see in the show is him kind of filling that XO role for Thrawn. He's very much a quartermaster, kind of administrator, and so we really wanted to play into the idea that he is a support character in this version of him. And then we come to the Night Troopers, which obviously the Night Troopers were the biggest challenge, I think, out of the entire squad. And that was really the fact that you had to come up with a way to create the zombie feel of the Night Troopers, the recursion mechanics of the Night Troopers within the game itself. And ultimately, I think where we kind of wound up with the team, great work from Michael Plummer and William Rutan, as well as our fantastic playtesters who iterated and iterated and iterated on these concepts, was using that undying loyalty and the animated Beyond Death to really provide this intriguing recursion mechanic where, as a player, you can be very reckless with them. As an opponent to them, you have to kind of think about how you're going to approach removing them or trying to wound them from the table. They do die, similar to like what we've seen in the past with Maul. Their aggressiveness or their willingness to like burn through their wounds can see them removed from the table faster than some other units, but because of the way their mechanics work, when other troopers are removed, they can kind of resuscitate and add to their ranks in that classic zombie feel. So just a really fun blast for a unit. A lot of really interesting different combinations with how the Night Trooper versus Night Sister tags work on Morgan. And ideally, a fun new little segment of the Star Wars galaxy for players to be able to explore and dive into. Along with these new squad packs, we also have a brand new mission pack that's going to be coming out. We want to give you a little preview of that. So Strategic Positions Mission Card Pack will be offering new tactical advantages on the cards for players to try to make the most of. And this new mission brings, of course, a new map, new layouts, a double primary objective mechanic, a lot of different things that'll challenge players in some fun ways, and add some new options and strategies for different squads, strike team compositions, and play as well. So this will be coming out as well next year. In addition to the new mission pack that we're showing off here, we also have, as I mentioned in the opening, a bunch of new game content that's going to be made available later today as it goes up on our website that you can start playing with right away. Specifically for Shatterpoint, we have the dramatic entrance of the Galactic Legends game mode, which you all, or many of you in the community, I can't say all of you, I don't know who's watching out there, I don't have access to the Twitch stream, but many folks within the community helped us beta test, both on the website when we first launched it and did some beta testing and play testing as well at the Adepticon event, which happened earlier in the year. The initial packet for the rules and the first 4 characters along with the first 2 scenarios is going to be made available today in its finalized glory. This is an awesome 2v1 mode where one player gets to play the Galactic Legends and 2 other players challenge them with their squads to try to win in the scenarios. You can mix and match the different Galactic Legends and scenarios, which means there's a lot of customization and opportunities. We really can't wait to see players be able to fully dive into this new game mode, to see how all of the help and the work through the different testing that we did publicly has come together to create a brand new way to experience Star Wars Shatterpoint. Additionally, we're not done with Galactic Legends. For those who did the playtesting at Adepticon, you might know that Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and Darth Vader are going to be the 2 next Galactic Legends. They're going to come along with a new scenario, and that packet is going to be released again for free starting early next year. So you can get used to the 4 Galactic Legends you have now, but new challengers will be approaching soon. And we're excited to really continue to build on this. It brings a new level of experience to the narrative Star Wars Shatterpoint. It lets players who want to see those iconic primary characters done in a way that really emphasizes their true movie potential, where they're just mowing down everything in their path and they seem unstoppable. To be able to play, and of course, as the players playing against them, you have to really think like a character in Star Wars who's facing a Darth Vader or an Asajj Ventress. How do we stop this? How do we stop this character and still come out of it alive? It can be a very difficult thing. Key Operations is another game mode that we dropped last year. Has been really fun. This is the asymmetric mission system for Star Wars Shatterpoint. It's been really neat to see how players have adopted to that, to be able to tell unique and kind of tied in thematic narrative stories through the mission system and the asymmetric system that Key Operations allowed. We did release a campaign rule set for tying your Key Operations games together to be able to tell a more dramatic like campaign narrative as you kind of work through things. But our developers, William Rutan and Michael Plummer, were not done because they're so enamored with that system and the campaign stuff. They came up with an idea to do special advantage cards that you can use in your Key Operations games, whether as part of the campaign or part of an individual thing. And so those campaign advantage cards, those Key Operation advantage cards, will be coming out today as well as a new print and play document that you can add to your games. These are all going to be available again near the conclusion of Ministravaganza. You'll see articles as well going up that kind of explain the thought processes, how to play. If you've never heard of Galactic Legends before because you're new to the game, welcome. Watch for that article. It's going to explain everything you need to know to be able to dive in and try out this new and exciting game mode with your friends. And of course, there's also going to be information on Key Operations and the new campaign advantages as well. So those are the things that you might have known are coming. Let's talk a little bit about the future and what's coming next. So one of the most exciting things from a game creation and a development standpoint is the fact that Shatterpoint is small skirmish, and we're allowed to kind of bounce around. You know, it's highly customizable. You can take who you want with who you want within the construction system. And that's allowed us to be able to explore things like the Clone Wars era, the Rise of the Republic, or Rise of the Empire, Galactic Civil War, and now the New Republic, more recently with the Mandalorians and the Ahsoka Disney Plus show. We knew that starting next year, you know, with these releases, that it was probably our first order of business had to be to find where we're going next. What is going to be the next era or the next like corner of the Star Wars galaxy that we're going to be exploring? And so it's with a lot of excitement internally and hopefully with you all out there that I get to reveal for our studio and all of the hard work that's gone into it is that we will be visiting the sequel trilogy next with the Rise of the First Order era. The initial wave for this era will feature 4 squad packs, each one kind of focusing on some of the iconic characters and moments from the sequel trilogy. Our first one, of course, that we have here is the Alone with Friends squad pack. This features characters as we see them from Episode 7 of Force Awakens with Finn, Rey, and Han and Chewie. And they're going to be paired with a pack that kind of emphasizes characters that we see in Episode 8 and 9, which is Poe Dameron, Zori Bliss, and some Resistance squad troopers. And so these two together kind of let you play a fully realized sequel trilogy strike team. And against them, as you might expect, is going to be the might of the First Order. The one we have to show here is On My Command, which includes Captain Phasma, some First Order Stormtroopers, and a First Order Flame Trooper. Not pictured because he wasn't quite ready for his photo opportunity. Of course, Kylo Ren will also be coming with some more First Order characters, including FN2199 of Traitor fame. And so all of these will come together to create kind of the first wave of our entrance into the sequel trilogy and exploring this cool, different era of Star Wars with these characters as well. All right. As exciting as it is to be able to go into this new era, we have plenty more plans to return to the other eras as well, and many more different game modes and opportunities to come out. For the moment, we are still considering and discussing what's going to be coming next internally. There's a lot of different discussions on that. We can't tell you enough how much the Shatterpoint community's passion and love of the game means to us. It drives everyone on the team. And with so many wonderful, great characters and eras, the hardest part internally whenever we talk about this game is deciding where in the world we're going to go next. The only thing that I can really tell you is that I am assured that the negotiations will be short. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to chatting to you soon about more Star Wars Shatterpoint.
Okay, I think that's it. That was short. That was quite short. We have They only spent 10 minutes on Shatterpoint. 10, I mean, yeah, because they spent the whole time talking about, well, I would say maybe like 12 minutes, I think. Maybe 12, 13 minutes. It's not very much. But First Order is cool. I'm digging the... Oh, shoot. You know what? If they're doing negotiations will be short, that's Naboo. That means Gungans. Son of a... Gosh, they're doing Gungans. Are you kidding me? They're... Yeah, no, well, maybe not, because, all right, let me load up the pictures, because we got to talk about all of that. Oh my God, yes, yeah, because, I mean, if you're doing Qui-Gon and Shatterpoint, they better mean Gungans, or else maybe they're saving the Gungans for Legion. What are we going to do for half an hour? Oh my goodness. Did they already do a Well, they already have the Queen and her people. Yeah, they have the Queen and her folks. So, oh, hi, River. My dog wants to play. You can't. I'm streaming right now. Here, come here. Come here. You want to say hi to everybody? Come on. Up, 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 up. Come on. You can. This is the one time I'm going to let you jump up. You're going to say hi. Look, you're on TV. You're on TV. No. Okay. Well, you guys got to see River for a minute there. I don't know if you guys have been following me for a long time, but she used to be really, really little. And I used to have her on my lap. And she's harder to... She's too crazy. She won't go up on my lap anymore. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to load up these images and we're going to talk about what they just announced. I'm excited about the First Order. I think those are going to be cool models to paint. I think it's going to be I'm glad they gave Finn a lightsaber. That is actually really cool. But I want to stress this. To enjoy gameplay from these other movies and stuff, it doesn't mean that you have to love these movies. It absolutely doesn't. All right, you don't have to be a fan of Episode 8 and Episode 9 to appreciate the way the First Order might look on a tabletop game. Like, those are two completely separate schools of thought. It helps if you're a fan of the content, but you can still enjoy it while not appreciating the writing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I do think that the sequel trilogy is something that will become a little bit more enjoyable to some people as time goes by, but I don't think everybody's gonna ever be 100% on board. The Last Jedi ruined that series. I don't think so, but I know where you're coming from. I actually really enjoyed The Last Jedi, and my problem was they didn't have the same director for all three. I wish they would have kept one vision for all three, because I thought The Last Jedi had a lot going for it. It just wasn't there. We did hit over 200 viewers, so we're gonna have another giveaway as well, and this one's gonna be Star Trek related. Do we have any Star Trek fans? We have a foil Ben Sisko, which we're going to do for Star Trek Into the Unknown. So we're going to throw this one out there as well. I know this is a Star Wars and MCP stuff, but I really enjoy Star Trek Into the Unknown, and and this is foil. We're giving out a foil promo here, so this is very cool. It's very cool stuff. It's all in the and Ben Sisko would kick total butt in. All right, let me do this and directory. Blah blah blah. We're going to pull all of this back in. All right, let's go. Let's talk about what they had for Shatterpoint. So, Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. We've already seen them. I thought for a little bit, once they were getting into it, they spent a long time talking about these guys. Talking about Baylan Skoll. By the way, good-looking sculpts. They spent a long time talking about Baylan Skoll. He and then Shin Hati also. We had already seen these guys announced at Adepticon. We also got the My Loyalty, My Life squad pack, which also was announced at Adepticon. This one's cool. They have the whole zombie thing going on. They have Enoch, Morgan Elsbeth, and the Night Troopers. Now, granted, I think a lot of people in the chat here were also saying, yes, this stuff also needs to come to Legion. I think because now you can run like a whole Night Sister squad, in a whole Dathomir well, you could do Dathomir already with Asajj and Maul, but you can run like all of Dathomir, Night Sister magic, and all this stuff, right? You have a lot of options for that now. In Shatterpoint, a lot of people are saying, why don't we have this for Legion? Because they had a whole army. It works really, really well for Legion. That may be something that happens. A lot of people in the chat are thinking that Shatterpoint is done now. I don't think it's done. I think it's getting just a little bit. I think the First Order stuff might be something that sets Shatterpoint apart. I have said for a while that I thought that they were going to be going into new eras. I'm glad to see that they're doing the sequel trilogy for Shatterpoint, because frankly, and then there's a new mission cards, new mission pap. I think these was also announced at Adepticon also. But when we get to the Resistance, this is very cool for a number of reasons. A big reason that this is so cool is you can't really do these guys in Legion. Not as I don't think you can do the Resistance as its own faction. There aren't enough. They don't have a standing army. They don't have enough people to fill out a list in Star Wars Legion. They just don't. You have like you had the Battle of Crate, which had some dudes on the ground in foxholes, but that's it. You have one trooper type that you saw in one scene where a guy licked salt, right? That was it. There's nothing else, so it just doesn't work. Yeah, you had some guys on sand skimmers. That doesn't make sense really as much in the white. Like they looked terrible. It wouldn't look good on a tabletop. Like they were meant to be like falling apart, like nearly dead vehicles. Like if you want the Resistance to have a standing army and to be a faction in Legion, you need a new show or something to come out that shows them with a standing army full of like vehicles and different trooper types and all of that. It just isn't something that really exists. They have flight crew, so they worked in X-Wing, and they had a fleet with multiple capital ships, so they actually would have worked in Armada as well. But you just don't see them fighting on the ground outside of a couple of folks. What you could do is you could put them in Legion as maybe being some mercenaries that work, or maybe not even mercs, but basically heroes that work in the Rebellion. Or you could do a battle force that mixes the Rebels and the Resistance, since they're the same thing, basically. However, you put them in Shatterpoint, and they work just perfectly fine, because Shatterpoint is only like a hero battle sort of game. You can put like the one infantry troop, a Resistance troop, or maybe the some of the flight crew who are refueling the fighters and stuff like that. You can put a throwaway a 1Z or 2Z in there because of Shatterpoint's nature. But this really does work out if you're trying to get a hero battle only. Shatterpoint is the game for the Resistance to actually be playable. If you want dudes on a map, ground crew. That just makes sense. That works. Poe Dameron, Zori Bliss, and look, yeah, you have two, Resistance, regular troopers. That's all you have, right? It's just that kind of guy. There's just not really very much for the Resistance, and I'm glad that Shatterpoint it's found its home there. Now, what really works in both games is the First Order. So this is one I'm very excited about. I'm a little upset that they didn't have a Kylo Ren image ready to go. These are also very far out. The fact that they're like concept art, it's they don't have painted minis for these yet, means that these are probably these may not be out in 2026. What I think we're going to see is I think we'll see painted models at Adepticon, and then there'll be like a 2027 Q1 kind of release. I think it's something like that. They're that far out. But yeah, that is good stuff. Like Kylo Ren will look good on these. Phasma will look good on these. First Order has a standing army. This needs to come to Legion, and it may seem weird to do the First Order without the Resistance, but I think it would be a gamble. You'd have to release a standalone First Order starter, and then the Resistance, you would release one of those hero packs, and then create a battle force where they can work with the Rebels. I think that would work. I think you have a better chance of getting Rebel players to buy into it because they already have like 80% of the army, right? So I feel like that works. I'm gonna get to some of the chat here in just a second. Sorry about that. There's a lot to talk about We still have a half an hour until they kick the next one off. I'm going to take a little break here in a minute. We'll keep the stream going. We'll take a 5-minute break for all of that beautiful stuff. We'll replenish fluids and stuff like that. You guys can stick on, and we'll float right into the MCP stream. But yeah, okay. Yeah, MCP, I'm excited. I think there's gonna be more. I think they'll go for more than like 13 minutes for MCP. Let's see. The Rebels did use an ATRT and Legion, which isn't their unit. It is in the video games as well. It's yeah. The Rebels did start off with some. They didn't have as much. But the Rebels have seen a lot more things, and a lot of that came from video games and expanded media that didn't always. That wasn't always a thing. So, let's see. What other prequel models they could bring in to Shatterpoint? Well, let's talk about prequel models. So they did say the negotiations would be short. If they're doing this one, it's not going to be the only one. Now, this one does pair with the Queen's Guard. This pairs with Amidala and the Handmaidens. This one pairs with that one perfectly. They may also do... They already have Maul, but he's not episode 1 Maul. He's like, Shadow Collective Maul, right? They could do a Spider Maul, which would be a fun thing to do. I don't know if they'll do that. This might just be a single standalone pack. I don't know if they, this may be rounding things out. It is, now, there's a couple of ways to look at this. This could be also one half of maybe Gungans that are also coming. I could easily see Gungans coming. Newt Gunray, and yes, that absolutely works. Do they have droidicas in Shatterpoint already? I don't think they have droidicas yet. I'm not sure. Gungans for Shatterpoint. If they were ever going to do Gungans for Shatterpoint, this is the ideal opportunity for them to do that. I could see them doing that. The problem with doing Gungans for Shatterpoint is Gungans have a standing army. They have a grand army. And they have a lot of... They did not have droidicas yet. I didn't think so. I don't remember building one. But I don't have everything. I don't have everything for Shatterpoint. There was a certain point where I stopped buying Shatterpoint stuff. So I have a decent selection of Shatterpoint, but not everything. But no, so how would you do Gungans? You can only do, ground troops, right? You can't do any of their big dinosaurs. You could do Boss Nass, but I think you do Jar Jar Binks, you can do Captain Tarples, maybe you do Boss Nass, and maybe you do, generic, some generic, like guys throwing the Boomas or something like that, some generic Gungans. But then you can't really do a second half pack to go with that. And it doesn't make as much sense to have the Gungans fighting with Padme. It works, but she was kind of storming the Capitol while the Gungans were out on the field. These guys kind of work with either one, right? Because these guys were out there helping for at least a lot. They fought with Gungans. They Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan worked with Jar Jar a lot. They were down in the Gungan city. So if you're going to do Gungans, you could pair them with this one for a thematic experience. I feel like that works. Yeah, Binks, Tarples, and 2 regulars. They could do Boss Nass also. And then they could maybe pull some stuff from the Clone Wars. That's a possibility. But I don't think you're going to get riders. No, I don't think you get cavalry. I don't think they. I mean, that would constitute a pretty big change in Shatterpoint for them to do cavalry. I just don't think you have anything like that. Now they can do larger bases. Some things like B1s are on a large base. You got 3 B1s on a large base, right? So yeah, it's possible. But I just feel like that's better suited to Legion than to Shatterpoint. And it's tough because the 2 games are already similar. I already think I don't know. But then again, that's things that could happen. On the other side of the house, this could spell the end for Shatterpoint. Possibility. I don't want people saying that I'm saying doom and gloom. I'm already talking about the ways they could continue to go. And they just announced the first order, so it probably isn't. But this could be hey, let's round out the game. Let's this fixes some faction issues. This gives the Padme a nice, counterpart. This will round out some existing things, and because it may be that you just want to get to a point where you say, you know what, this isn't selling as well. let's finish up the expansions we need to do to where we can call it a complete game. And I think with Mandalorian, they've in eras, they were definitely building to where they would eventually go into the sequel trilogy. It always made sense. How would you suggest getting started in Shatterpoint? The core box. The core box has a ton of stuff. It has terrain, has everything you need to play. It has 2 full builds, and you can also mix and match within there. Definitely. And then from there, you just buy whatever you want. They could do they could do the riders for Gungans, but again, that's just something that works better for Legion. So I do really think we're going to see. I think we're going to see Gungans show up in Legion. I think we'll see it today. MCP is up next. I also want to get some of your thoughts for Marvel Crisis Protocol, but we are going to take a hydration break. I am going to step out for 5 minutes, and I'll come back and we'll do one of the other giveaways and continue to share this. If we get to over 300, we're going to do another giveaway. So it's going to be giveaway crazy time. We are also going to do, if we get to 300, we'll do a ship, an actual starship for Star Trek Into the Unknown. Wait and see. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll take a little break. All right. I will be right back, folks. Take your bathroom breaks, get your drinks, get your snacks, and we'll resume in 5 minutes. This dog. You are the cutest thing. You are the cutest thing. You say hi to everybody. Say hi. We're back. We're back a little bit early. All right. Come here. Up here. Oh yeah. She wants to play. Let me get those ears. You know, she likes the ear rubs. So this is River, everybody. She wanted to say hi. Yeah, you weren't expecting doggos on the stream. You know, golden retrievers are crazy, by the way, and she is especially crazy. You are especially crazy, aren't you? I just gave you a treat, and you just went out. Yeah. Okay, can you go down now? I'm going to talk to my people. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Yeah, she is not a puppy anymore. She was. We got her very, very, very little. And when is Star Wars Legion? Legion is in 1 hour and 20 minutes. Yes. So that's Rivers. River says hi to everybody. She wants to be on the stream too. Once upon a time, my kids were little, and they used to kind of want to come sit on my lap and be on the streams and stuff too. I save videos of those, and I go back and I watch them every once in a while, and it makes me tears roll down my cheeks at how cute they were. And oh my goodness, I don't know why I'm getting into that. We're talking about Shatterpoint. By the way, for those of you who watched the Shatterpoint roadmap, did you notice there was no roadmap? Like, they announced a couple of they announced 4 new expansions. No, 5. One wasn't shown, but they announced 5 new boxes, which is definitely something. But there was no roadmap. They didn't talk about a timeline. Like, a roadmap is usually the timeline. You know, quarter 1, quarter 2. Yeah, I mean, is that? I don't want to be like making a mountain out of a molehill or anything. But that's just something that came to my mind. I didn't even realize it right away. It's yeah. So, Joking Joker says, I hope they talk about Savage Press and the pirate tank for Legion. Of course. I think 100% you are going to see, and I did a video talking about this last week. You're going to see Savage Press. I'm sure you're going to find out what that 4th model in that box is, because it's supposed to be Savage, Asajj Ventress, Count Dooku, and a mystery character, which is, I'm going to say it's either going to be Mother Talzin or Jango Fett. Jango Fett makes the most sense. Mother Talzin also makes a lot of sense, and I want it to be Mother Talzin. I want Night Sisters. I want a Dathomir Battle Force. Very much. But Jango makes more sense. Well, Jango seems most likely, although I think Jango makes more sense from a different standpoint. Okay, we're going to do our first giveaway. We've already started one giveaway, but that's for Legion stuff, so that's happening at the end. Mini Crab for Shatterpoint. What? All right. Rockham is the first person to suggest Mini Crab. Normally, I only do these for super chats. Normally. But we'll do it. We'll do a Mini Crab. Oh, yeah, baby. There's Mini Crab for you. He doesn't come out all the time. It's actually pretty rare. I haven't done Mini Crab in a long time. All right, go away, Mini Crab. All right. So we're gonna do. So this one's gonna be a Star Trek giveaway. This is for Benjamin Sisko. He's a foil. You can't get him anymore. He was for pre-orders, and yeah, he's very cool. And if you guys aren't familiar with Star Trek Into the Unknown, it is a very, very cool game. Give me a hashtag Star Trek in the chat if you want to have a chance to win one of these, and I will announce this one before the next stream starts. Okay. If we get over 300 viewers, we'll add another giveaway. We'll do another. We're going to have a ship here, and this was going to be one of the 12 Days of Life Day giveaways, but it is actually a. I'll give you a hint. So make sure you share this out. It'll be the USS Defiant, an official promo USS Defiant with stand. You don't even have to play the game. You can just have it on your desktop. Pre-painted. Yes, you can still make pre-painted ships. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it? It's amazing. It's amazing that you can actually do that. But yes. All right. So we'll leave that running. All right. All right, let's see what we have. All right, so we got Marvel Crisis Protocol coming up. So Marvel Crisis Protocol. What are we thinking? I mean, I think the number one suggested thing is Fantastic Four. That's definitely something I think is going to be coming. That'd be a fun pack to get. I might even pick it up. I love the game. I don't play it as much, and one of the problems is they've had so much errata to it that like my cards, I don't know if a single one of my cards is actually accurate anymore. So it's like to play it, I have to be very like I don't care. Like I'm like very, very, very extremely kitchen table casual when I play MCP. Doctor Doom, 100% needs to come. Yes. MCP is such a good game, and it's surprising to me that they didn't just take Shatterpoint and make it just Star Wars Crisis Protocol. Like basically make it the same rule set. You know, like the fact that you can't throw terrain when half the characters are Force users or are otherwise strong enough to be able to flip terrain and stuff. Like what? You know, like the B2s could flip terrain. You know, like a lot of. Or hell, the B1s. There's 3 of them. There's a whole bunch. It's power in numbers, right? Or even at least small terrain. You know, and not everybody. And the thing is, in MCP, not everybody throws terrain. I think there was. Like a legality reason that they couldn't use the same rule set, that they had to create a significantly distinct rule set. And there was a time that I was working on a new rule set for Shatterpoint that would have made it a lot more like, I wasn't going to copy Crisis Protocol completely, but maybe that's the smarter thing to do, is just turn everything into Shatterpoint into Crisis Protocol cards and just do it that way. Just treat it like Star Wars Crisis Protocol. Like if somebody would do up cards for that, I would probably play Star Wars Crisis Protocol, like Shatterpoint Crisis Protocol. Like I would probably play that, and I'd probably love it. I think that would be incredible. But I think there's got to be some kind of legal reason that AMG can't do it. Because I don't see why they wouldn't. I feel like the game would just blow up. It could be bigger than Legion, honestly, if they had done that. Because MCP is already pretty huge. It's a good game. It's a good game system. It's very fun. So, yeah. Let's see. Hoping for Thunderbolts affiliation and some of the OG members. Oh, yeah. Well, I think Red Hulk was already spoiled. And like there's some other Hulks I think that are coming. I think there's a new model for She-Hulk that was at one of the cons. I don't, as much as I enjoy MCP, it's funny to me how much of a game system, how good I like the game system and how much I like it, that I don't cover it more. You know, I think it's probably because as much as like when I love stuff, I talk about it, and at a certain point, the games that I love, they kind of turn into work, right? And for me, MCP is like, I didn't want MCP to turn into work. So when I do play MCP, it's just for me. It's just fun, right? And like I have a couple of games like that like I play a lot of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I do some battle reports on it, but most I don't. You know, whereas like Armada and Legion and stuff like that, most of my games I end up getting filmed. Not all, but a lot of them do. And so those tend to turn into work. And there's certain games that I don't want to turn into work. So that's where MCP is for me. But I could probably cover it a little more. Red Hulk and Leader. Leader was the other one. Thank you. Yeah, Leader was spoiled. Also, great job, chat. You guys are awesome. I did see a couple of you guys mentioning that you were watching in the Twitch stream. I saw a couple of folks saying, "Oh, we came here from Crabbok's stream. You know, he's doing the watch party, and and it was like, oh, it's nice to remind them. Nice to remind them that." I don't know. I'm trying to choose my words carefully here. That I'm helping, that I'm signal boosting, because I love these games. So, except for Shatterpoint, I don't love Shatterpoint as much. It could be. I love the models though, and I love that, and I love that a lot of you guys love it too. So that's why I continue to cover it a little bit. Crabbok, what is your favorite army in Legion? Empire. Yeah. It's weird because there's a lot of stuff I like more. I also really like Republic. But kind of one of the short answers is, I mean, it might be Separatist once the rest of the wheel bikes come out. I've got Grievous I still have to do. He's out in the garage right now. He's ready. He's ready to go. I've got filming of all these things. You know, got a lot of work to do for next week, but you know, I have a feeling he's gonna be better once the wheel bikes come out, and I think we'll see a preview of the wheel bikes later today. But those could be a lot of fun. But you know, and I look at Rebels and I see fun things that I want to run, but I tend to just gravitate back to Empire over and over again. And one of the big reasons for that is I really like the way the new Stormtroopers look. If to me, tabletop gaming, especially hobby gaming, Legion, MCP, Shatterpoint, all of these games, they are, as much as they are about gameplay and competitive experiences, they're also visual. They are kind of a game of show and tell. If you're, you know, if you're proud of the paint jobs you've put on your stuff, if you're proud of maybe the base work you've done or the terrain setup that you've built, or you know, you like the way that this list looks together, and you want to take pictures of it. Again, this is me. I know some people definitely feel this way, but maybe some people it's more about the gameplay. I see a lot of people play with unpainted miniatures and stuff, and so for them, they're obviously interested more in the gameplay than the hobby aspect, although they're still working on it, right? I lean a lot more into the hobby aspect than the gameplay. Now, I love the gameplay. The gameplay, it has to be there. I'm like 60-40. Maybe 70-30. Maybe 70-30. But, you know, so the gameplay still has to be there. And now the hobby aspect on Shatterpoint is amazing. But for me, the gameplay isn't quite there. I could still play it again at some point. I just feel less incentivized to go through all this stuff to try to set it up. But yes, Age of Sigmar is fun. Love Spearhead for quick balancing. I just played a Spearhead game recently. Played a couple of Spearhead games recently. It is fun. You can get, well, the beauty of that is you can get multiple games. You can get 2 games of Spearhead in less than it would take to play 1 game of normal Age of Sigmar, and it's actually really cool. And so you can try out multiple factions. It gives you a flavor of them. It's also a great entry point. It's not my favorite format, but it has value, and you know, I really liked it for the Hellsmiths of Hashut because I only had the army box and that was only a Spearhead. And it's like, okay, I can try these. I can try before I build out the rest of them, see what units I like the most of. We're getting ready to start the next stream is going to be starting. We're about 7 minutes out. Last chance. Hashtag Star Trek if you want to have a chance to win the Ben Cisco. We have more giveaways coming. We are doing a Mandalorians during the Legion stream. We also have an Intensify Firepower that we are going to give away for Star Wars Armada. Again, these things are coming. These things are coming. We will not be talking over the stream, so this is gonna be Marvel Crisis Protocol. We'll jump over to something like this. We'll be streaming it just like that. It's gonna be beautiful. All right. For our it is hashtag Mando for the Mandalorians as well. That's correct. But that will be at the end, after the Legion stream is over. So again, to be fair, I do some of these things because I want you to stick around. So that's part of it. We may also we may drop one in Discord as well. We can do some fun stuff in Discord. We have a giveaways channel in Discord that I use sometimes when we're doing special events. So that's cool. And any of this stuff that doesn't get claimed will roll over to patrons as well. All right, let's go ahead and pick our winner here. It is going to be Iron Buddha 23. Congratulations, Iron Buddha. You've won the Cisco foil promo. So go ahead and now to claim these winnings, 2 things. Email me, tell me what you won, because we're doing multiple giveaways. So email me at mailcrabbok@gmail.com, mailcrabbok @gmail.com, and in that email, tell me what you've won. I will also need your shipping address, so please, and include a name in there, unless you want an envelope to be addressed to Iron Buddha 23. That's always awkward, And the reason I specify that is because some people don't know their address, or they enter it in a really weird way. Like how would it be written on an envelope, right? When I was in school, we had classes. A reasonable portion of my early education was how to fill out an envelope. Where do you put your address? Where do you put the sender's, the return address? Where do you put the going to address? And you learn the format for all of that. And it's, I don't think they teach that anymore. I don't know. There's a lot of people who have won stuff and they're just like, oh, I'm in Ireland. I'm like, okay, well, what's the address? I'm like, oh, I'm on 5th Street. I'm like, can you just give me your address? Oh, the house number is 12. I'm like, can you... Okay, I'm going to ask you one more time. It's very weird. So like, and then so I'll put the whole thing in. I'm like, all right, all the pieces you've given me, it looks like this. Is this your... So weird. And yes, we'll ship internationally for these things. Because some people are like, oh, I'm, I have a whole bunch of international stamps. So if you win, you're international. Especially most of the promos, they just go in an envelope and they ship them out. So easy stuff. So if you guys are just joining us, let's recap. Let's jump to here. We are looking. We just covered the Shatterpoint stream. You can rewind if you want the cliff notes for all of that. I'll also be doing recap videos next week on everything that we've talked about. And I'm going to try to fit that in with all the other stuff. I've got so many things to cover. I'll do a dedicated Shatterpoint video. I'll probably do a dedicated Marvel Crisis Protocol video. I haven't talked about that in a while, and it'd be a fun thing to talk about. But that will be based on whatever gets announced here. Legion is in an hour, technically an hour and 5 minutes, but we'll be talking about it before that. So you can stick around if you want. You can talk about Legion in chat. I don't moderate my chat very much. Of course, use common sense. Don't be a dick. But pardon my language. But you can talk about whatever games you want. You can talk about Armada. You can talk about X-Wing. You can talk about Legion. Talk about Shatterpoint. Talk about Warhammer. Whatever. I know that because I don't have a license that I have to worry about and stuff. Whereas some things get automatically kind of removed from chat. I saw a lot of, I don't know what was happening during their stream, but there were a lot of comments that were getting erased. So I don't know what was going on. What do you think about Shadow Collective as an army? Great question. Black Sun all the way. I love it that it's a great way to run Black Sun. I spent a decent amount of time with my Black Sun troops, and I want more of them. It also means I have to come up with, I'll tell you guys something. I have to come up with a better way to protect my minis. A lot of my Legion stuff is getting dust on it because it's been sitting out on a shelf for so long. I might have to get some battle foam containers, more of them for everything. If you're thinking about transporting with your armies, take good care of them at Battle Foam. Head over to battlefoam.com and use code Crabbok VIP at checkout. You can save 15%. It's fun stuff. It's fun stuff. So that's an interesting promo I have with them. It goes I was given the way they normally work is you get a little kickback, and there's hey, you've got 20% to work with. You can give your people 5%, and then you'll get 15% to you, or you can give them 10%. And you can get 10. Then you split it. So if I could have made it a 10% discount, and I would have gotten 10%, but I made it a 15% discount, so I only get 5%. So I get a little bit of a kickback off of those. Alternatively, I could have gone with 20%, and then I would have gotten nothing. Problem is, I would have probably then forgot to promote it. There has to be a little bit of incentive on my part just to keep the savings up for you guys. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't go through the effort of making the whole scroll thing. So that's kind of how that works. Full disclosure. It gives me a little bit, not much, a few dollars. But yeah, Battle Foam has stuff for a lot of different games. It's very cool stuff. So, and this is I don't take on too many sponsors. I like to work with sponsors that I actually enjoy their product. And with the way Battle Foam works, I've been a fan of their product for years, since I started my channel. I've always enjoyed their stuff. So, and we've done a couple of individual sponsored videos before, but this was, more of the time was right for an ongoing sponsorship. So that was cool, and because I don't want to recommend stuff that's not good, and their stuff is very, very good. I have 3 of their packs out in my garage right now. It's beautiful stuff, and I traveled with it. I brought it to Adepticon with me. Everything was perfect, Very cool stuff. What are we doing? It should be starting. There we go. All right, MCP stream is about to start. I'm going to be swapping over. It's going to be just like that. You guys ready? You guys ready for some cool MCP stuff? I want to see the Fantastic Four. That's what I want to see. Oh, that's good times. Yeah. Those, you know, they're great for suitcases. They are great. How many of you guys have played Marvel Rivals, you know, on console or PC? Like, that kind of makes me think a little bit more of, like, hey, that's very similar to Crisis Protocol. It's like the tabletop game of a video game. You know, it's a cool thing. Do I still play Drop Fleet? I have never played Drop Fleet. Well, I kind of got half a game going one time. I don't know how to play Drop Fleet, and not fully. Like, I have been trying forever to get a demo of Drop Fleet, and it just has never happened. Like, they don't want to teach me how to play Drop. Does that sound? I've been to multiple conventions, Gen Cons, Adepticons, and there's just never been somebody set up to, like, teach Drop Fleet Commander. And it's one of those things that, like, yes, there's rule books, but I just don't learn as well from the rule book. Like, I want to get a demo for that game. I want to, because I have a lot of questions and stuff. It's a little rules heavy. But it's a really cool concept. I know enough about it. I know enough about the basics on how it works to really enjoy it, but I just have so many fundamental problems. Yeah, Marvel Rivals is fun. I have uninstalled it. I kind of burnt out on it for a little bit. I'm going to reinstall at some point for sure. My only thing I don't like about Marvel Rivals is so many of the skins. They have so many skins, and most of them are obscure. All right.
Here today for the Marvel Crisis Protocol roadmap and some fun gameplay surprises. I'm Will Schick, the VP of Creative Development and Strategy for Atomic Mass Games, and I guess we're just going to kick things off right away here. So let's dive in and take a look at some cool stuff that's going to be coming out here in the next few months, early 2026, I guess, for Marvel Crisis Protocol. These fine armored lads and ladies were shown off at the Adepticon 2025 roadmap, but of course we wanted to take a re-look at them. We've got some cool reveals for them as well, but of course Ironlad, Ironmonger, King the Conqueror, and Rescue are going to be coming early next year to the game. And let's go ahead and start off with Ironlad. So Ironlad is a new 3-threat mid-ranged attacker. He, of course, has some pretty solid durability thanks to neurokinetic armor and temporal divergence superpower, which allows him to reroll the attacker's dice as he manipulates the time stream. For those in the know, we all know that Ironlad is destined to become King the Conqueror, although he often tries to work against that destiny. He is going to be a good inclusion in several affiliations as a new character. And a very fun one to kind of utilize and play around with his suite of different abilities and all of that stuff. Ironmonger is the next one we want to take a look at. This guy is unique in probably an interesting and somewhat unexciting way until you really start to think about it. He's the first 3-threat character to be on a 65mm base. And of course, he comes loaded to bear for offense. He has a lot of really great attacks, some high durability. But that 65mm base, along with his ability to place himself, don't underestimate it. He is very potent in Criminal Syndicate rosters, as we saw in testing and everything else. And a lot of our effort actually went into making sure that a 3-threat on a 65, with the affiliation selections that he winds up in, was well balanced within the objective grab game and all of that stuff. But Ironmonger quickly became a staple in many of the testers' lists and rosters, and we found him to be a very fun and very cool character. The miniature is glorious. He comes with a lot of different optional bits, so if you want him to have him shooting the missiles or doing different special effects, our team under Evan and Marco went really full bore on Ironmonger and all of the different things you can do with that miniature. Perhaps my favorite from this set, maybe outside of King, who we'll talk about in a little bit, is Rescue. Rescue is really another first, as Ironmonger is the first 3-threat on a 65. Rescue here is the very first kind of true focused healer for Marvel Crisis Protocol. As crazy as it is to say, 6 years into the game and its development, but we now have kind of a DPS healer come into the game with Triage. She can chip enemies down while healing her allies back to health, but Medevac's really where it at. This was a really awesome ability idea that we were able to iterate on and pull in. The idea that she can effectively place a character, pull them out of danger, heal them, do all this different stuff, makes her really strong at doing what she does, which is keeping her team going and alive. She became really good friends with She-Hulk and Hulks, as you can kind of imagine, for her ability to keep those big characters on the table for a lot longer. And she fits pretty well into everything in her affiliations, one of them being A-Force as well. And the last one, who we, of course, we save for last, is Kang the Conqueror. Kang, we're not quite ready to show you what he's got yet in terms of his character card, but we did want to share, I think, what really stands out for this character are the Team Tactic cards. And these obviously go back a bit to Iron Lad as well, since they're Nathaniel Richards, not Summer. I'm thinking Nathan Summers, which is Cable. Nathaniel Richards tagged. The team overall on development, Andrew Dursum, Ben Ransom, primarily did some great exploration on how to take these Team Tactic cards, take the idea of chrono manipulation and all the nutty stuff that Kang does, and use the round tracker as something to track, to be able to borrow health from the future to the present and how these things interact with each other, the press your luck mechanics that are inherently involved in these. Just really kind of brings the whole Kang experience home as this centerpiece kind of character that's going to be the linchpin for some squads the players are going to build, and really drive home the fact that he is the main character wherever he shows up when you're playing with his full suite of tactic cards, with all of his different abilities and everything else. So really excited to be able to present more about this character, to have players really start to understand what Kang as this premier Marvel threat is going to bring to the game, and then also just to be able to explore new design space when it comes to how these tactic cards interact and what we're able to continually innovate and come up with to make the game more exciting, more thematic, and to tell the story of these Marvel characters on the tabletop itself. Another pack that we showed off at Adepticon this year was a return to the Marvel Cosmos with Adam Warlock, Moondragon, and Quasar, Phi Lavelle specifically as Quasar, as there have been many who have held that mantle. These characters, glorious sculpts, some of the best that have come out of our studio, and that's saying a lot when it comes to the engineering skill and just the incredible posing, the effects, everything. I mean, Moondragon is of course awesome, but that Adam Warlock, I mean, woo! I'm not a huge Adam Warlock fan. I love that miniature, to be quite honest. And speaking of Adam Warlock, let's talk about this character. Let's take a look at his rules and what he's bringing to the game. So one of the really fun things about this box is it does bring back an oldie but a goldie from the early days of Marvel Crisis Protocol, the Infinity Gems. And so, of course, Adam Warlock is the big foil to Thanos in the Infinity Gauntlet saga, and we really wanted to show that with this character. And so one of our big development pushes for him was to show that he is the life to Thanos' death. And so a lot of the beats, a lot of the ideas for abilities that kind of came out of it was in looking at Thanos and then saying, okay, what's the inverse of that? How do we kind of play on the idea that these are yin and yang characters and they push against each other? He also brings a brand new Infinity Gem that is specific to Adam Warlock. We really wanted to show off the fact that he has a high affinity, a unique kind of relationship with the Soul Gem. So he brings the bonded Soul Gem with him. He always does have to take it, or he wants to always take it basically with him. And this kind of ties into his old power set and everything else that goes along with him. And then of course you have the opportunity and flexibility to bring along an additional gem if you so choose. Coming next, the Guardians of the Galaxy won't be the only affiliation getting reinforcements among the Marvel Universe. We also have some Asgardian reinforcements coming with Valkyrie on Lindale. We got a little error on that. That Aragon is Brunhilde's Pegasi. This is Valkyrie from the Exiles. So not the Brunhilde who has been released previously. She doesn't have her steed yet, maybe someday. Also known as Valk. And she is going to be coming as a mounted character on her Pegasi. Just another amazing miniature, completely knocked it out of the park. Super dynamic, looks great paired in tableau. I'm going to use my favorite word, tableau, with Malekith on his Bat Tiger. Her whole suite of abilities is all about mobility. She has some really great play patterns, pretty high ceiling to get everything to work out. But when it does, you can wind up just bouncing all across the board. Really dials in that whole feeling of like soaring through and charging through the ranks of the enemy on your mounted steed as you attack with all the different weapons and show off the warrior of legend that the Valkyries are. And the Warriors 3 rules not quite yet, but of course another intriguing character in terms of being 3 characters on a single base. We really like to do these with the groups that are, you always think of them together, right? I think there's always an argument that you could split them up. But when it comes to like the Warriors 3, it does mean the Warriors 3, much like the Wrecking Crew. We kind of envision them as the Wrecking Crew. This leaves us opportunity in the future to, of course, split those characters up and offer them individually for players who want to be able to take 1 or 2. But when really looking at these thematic groups where their strength is in their unity, is in their teamwork, this is a fun design space that I always get to do, and working on the Warriors 3 was also a really fun one. They'll bring a lot, I think, to Asgardian rosters as well, based on their threat level and everything else. So these pair will also be coming out sometime early in quarter 2 of next year, with all of the dates that we say on these streams, of course, always subject to change based on logistics, global, like shipping nonsense, everything else that goes on with the world. We try to get as close as possible. And with that, I think we have a pretty fun thing that we want to go to next. So I talked, if you were with us at the start for the opening ceremonies, I mentioned that one of the things we've been doing a lot as a studio is utilizing bandwidth to try and do different fun things, to go back to some stuff that we used to do. One of those things was making really awesome trailer videos. Tony and Dallas worked really hard on this one. It is phenomenal, and we want to just kick off the next round of previews with a very cool cinematic trailer.
The future is not mutant.
All right, well, whether you think that the future is mutant or not, we've got a lot of cool things to look at that fill both those roles. So let's start off with the mutants themselves. These were also previewed at Adepticon earlier this year. Danny Moonstar, Havoc, Jubilee, and Multiple Man will all be joining the X-Men ranks and also bringing a brand new X-Factor affiliation, with both Havoc and Multiple Man having some pretty starkly different leaderships on how to play that affiliation. Just a very fun set of characters. And of course, we finally get to tick off my classic X-Men shirt that was debuted when we first launched the X-Men at a Ministrav and revealed them. So Jubilee is now finally coming to the game, which means we have all of the core X-Men from my X-Men shirt. So kudos there. Very, very exciting. And I was going to bring the shirt, but then, I didn't, because it would be weird if I had to unbutton the official AMG shirt and just show it. It felt too much. It felt too much. Mutants overall, though, in Crisis Protocol, we felt internally had just been enjoying this dangerous sense of superiority for too long, and it was time to really dive in and start creating some countermeasures here to allow players out there who felt affronted by all of these mutants to be able to combat the threat. And with that, we of course have our new Sentinel characters that are coming in with Bastion, Nimrod, and Omega Sentinel. I believe Nimrod wound up in the case at Adepticon. If you got to see that miniature, kudos to you. It's phenomenal. The Bastion just looks amazing. Omega Sentinel as well. All of these characters, again, the engineering team just continues to level up over and over again when it comes to the posing, the dynamism of the miniatures, and just what we're asking of them to be able to do. The amazing artwork by Patrick Brown behind them as well. Josh Colon, our art director, continues to knock it out of the park with that. Bastion, of course, brings a brand new leadership wholly dedicated to the Sentinels affiliation that's going to allow them to be able to step up their game against those deplorable mutants. But it also gave us an opportunity when working on these characters to go back and revisit the original Sentinels to really redefine the affiliation for the modern age as a potent and fully fleshed out group. And so today, after this stream, you're going to be seeing a couple of new game content updates. The first of which that we want to talk about is a brand new character rebalance batch, and we can go ahead and take a look at those new Sentinels and how the Prime Mark IV and the Sentinel Mark IV have been updated for a brand new age and ready for Bastion to come in and lead them to victory against the mutants. Some of the big notes on these, and you can't see it here, but you will when the document gets posted. The injured side of these characters has been retuned to be a little more player-friendly, to offer some more opportunities compared to the previous one. And I think the favorite one, the favorite new addition, which we can see on this, is the new acceptable collateral damage superpower, which as we were playing through, as we were looking at these things, how to make this affiliation work better, how to make these characters feel a little more seamless on the table. You know, one of the big things is that because they had large bases, it was very difficult to place them on certain terrain densities and things like that. So now your big stompy robots can just do some big stompiness on those cars and things that get in their way and just take them off the table. So there's no hiding for those filthy mutants to be able to just sneak around and stop you from being able to place where you want to. This has an unintended consequence, or maybe an intended consequence, of when you're playing the Sentinels and you get to place it down and smash the train. It feels really fun. It feels really thematic. The Sentinels aren't the only ones in this rebalance update, however. You're also going to see fixes to and readjustments to several other characters. Cassandra Nova, another character within the Sentinels affiliation, has gotten a bit of a tweak and some updates as well. Dormammu, the Dread Dormammu, has also seen some updates and adjustments to how he plays, specifically with the leadership and when those things trigger. There's going to be a development article that's going to go into all the thought processes behind that, so you can look forward to that later today, along with the cards themselves. What I want to do here is pretty much just cover kind of the overview of what to expect, get you hyped for when those things post up on the website so you know what to expect. Emma Frost was another one in the rebalance. She perhaps has the most dramatic rework of all of the characters in this current cycle. We really wanted to dive in and take a look at her transformation mechanics, how that process was working, how that play pattern was going, also really define roles within them. So what you're going to see is that the diamond form and the telepathic form have much more separation of kind of their roles, what they do on the tabletop. We amped up the durability of the diamond form by quite a bit, increasing her defenses in that form, increasing her ability to be offensive, and then smoothing out the way in which she's able to transform back and forth so that players have more agency and control over those two forms, and then you don't feel like you get locked in to a suboptimal play while still having to make important and critical choices in the way in which we envision that character playing. Last but certainly not least, there's a host of other characters who got really minor adjustments, mostly stamina increases, which have had a dramatic impact. We talk about this a lot when we discuss character rebalances and those kinds of things. Sometimes changing one stat by one digit or two can have dramatic impact and be all a character really needs. So characters including Professor X, Psylocke, Star-Lord, Yondu, S.H.I.E.L.D. characters like Nick Fury Jr., Black Widow, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Hawkeye all received small but impactful stamina updates. So you can look forward to having all of those available and game legal, ready to play and add to your rosters and start changing up how you view your squad compositions later today, following the conclusion of Ministrav as those things go up. In addition to the character rebalances, though, we also have some pretty significant core rulebook adjustments and changes to the overall gameplay. As always, as we always talk about, we're constantly engaged with analysis, with observation, with data collection. We're always watching for how the game is evolving, changing within players, and it is our goal and our role as developers and designers of this game to ensure that the gameplay is the best it possibly can be. And so we're constantly asking questions and debating internally, looking at testing various opportunities and differences to ensure that the game maintains at the cutting edge of the best player experience, the best Marvel tabletop miniatures game and narrative that it can be. We've often made small changes in the past. Today, as this new core rulebook goes up, you're going to be seeing a number of alterations, and we're going to go over some of the bigger ones now, but of course, always be sure to check out that article for the specifics and the actual core rules themselves to dive in and see exactly what's changed. The first one that I really want to discuss is all about missions. So how crisis cards are chosen, how missions are developed. A big thing that we're always watching for is making sure that turn 0, or the pre-planning of the game, including roster creation, squad picking, mission selection, is impactful, but it does not dictate the finality or the final outcome of the game. If you talk about percentages, you want turn 0 to be somewhere in that 20% range, and then the actual gameplay expression to be the vast majority of the experience. As we continue to look at the game, see where the game is with all these new crises that came in, the new crises that we're going to be adding, what we really established and saw was that we needed to add more randomness, more chance to the mission selection process. This really goes back to the theme of Crisis Protocol, which is the idea behind the whole game is that you as the player, you as the crisis response team, are trying to adapt to a changing situation that you're never quite sure what it is. And that's why we allow you to bring a roster of 10 characters and build your squad beforehand from those assets. That's part of the enjoyment, and the planning is supposed to be that you, the player, are adapting to an unknowable situation. You might have close to perfect information, but you should never have perfect information. With that, one of the things that we looked at was how many crisis cards players had to bring to the game. And we've increased that to 5. This adds more variety. It makes it much harder for lists to be able to pick all the crises that they excel at because of the selection and the rotation of crisis cards. It gives us the ability to make sure that all players are playing with a couple of suboptimal if they're really skewing towards a single play pattern, or encouraging players to take a more all-comers approach and realize that they can't simply build a roster that excels in one aspect of the game without having some drawbacks to when this crisis selection happens. The other big thing is because we increased the randomness of the 5-card draw, making it less likely that you're going to get your optimal crisis card. We also wanted to involve the other player, your opponent, and yourself more in the selection process as well. So instead of simply drawing 1 from the deck, players now draw 2 from their appropriate crisis card deck that they selected, and then your opponent will pick one of the 2 cards that you drew to be the crisis card selection for either the secure and the extract. You will do the same for the other, and that is how mission creation will be made. What we saw in testing and with all of the iterations on the different systems that we tried is that this level of player choice was really well received among the testers, because it meant that if you saw a crisis card that you really didn't want to play, whether you felt that it was extremely bad for your roster selection of characters and the squad that you could do, you could veto it and you could play the other one. If you saw a crisis card and you just were tired of playing that crisis card, you could also say, let's not play that one, let's play this one. So it gives a lot of player agency in terms of being a collaborative, which has always been the idea behind the dynamic mission creation and crisis protocol system. And it opens up a lot of flexibility and opportunity. And I think what it does great is that it puts a lot more onus on clever and knowledgeable roster construction, and removes that kind of turn 0 ability to be able to force the game in one direction. And now as players, we have to plan a lot more for all of these different opportunities. And it really feels like you're responding to a crisis, which has been really great. The last change that I want to talk about that kind of goes along with mission setup, and going back to that you can't make perfect plans because you don't have perfect information, is there are now 2 priority roles in the game. There's the first one as normal, but now after deployment, but before the game begins, before the first turn of round 1 begins, players will roll for priority again, and the player who wins that will be the first player. This means that you no longer can guarantee as you set up for deployment that you know exactly when in the turn order you're going to go. So this, again, challenges players to say, are you going to set up for an aggressive, potent midline objective grab? with the risk that you'll be exposed if you don't wind up going first. Are you going to set up more conservatively? Are you going to create backup plans? And that's really the key to all of this, is we want players to not only have plan A, but plan A through plan 27, right? There's a great Cyclops quote that Josh Cologne gave me the other day. He said, we have plan 2 because plan B assumes that we only have 26 plans, and we have way more than that. And that's really the goal here as well. We want the game to be a dynamic challenge that players are constantly solving within the play of the game itself. Not just at turn 0, although knowing your turn 0 still gives you a strong advantage to the game. The other big change that I really want to highlight here for the game that is probably going to take a bit of adjustment for players, but I think has opened up a lot of really cool opportunities and really smoothed the gameplay out in a way that I think will be productive for the modern experience and moving us forward into all these great new characters we're talking about, is that damage from throws has changed. Now damage from throws is no longer based on the size of the object or character plus 1. It is now all a flat 3. So the baseline damage for collisions is all 3 going forward. What this does is it really brings in line the fact that games could feel skewed. Players felt very disadvantaged on certain tabletops that may have larger sized line of sight blocking terrain, but then faced characters that could throw that terrain, because hitting 4 or 5 guaranteed damage against most physical defenses could lead to a really bad experience. It could lead to a lot of predetermined outcomes, and we don't want that. On the flip side, size 1 terrain was kind of meaningless. You never really considered throwing it because 2 damage against most physical defenses was really nothing. You could hope for an extreme outcome, but it wasn't a lot. By kind of bringing everything into the midline, making sure that everything is 3, we created a new system where the vast majority of physical defenses can hold up well against throw damage, but you're still guaranteed to get some damage through on the average, but it's not as extreme. Additionally, and I think the most exciting part from our testing was that this really opened the door for players to be able to add a lot more larger line of sight blocking terrain and movement blocking terrain without having to worry about what it meant for the game balance in terms of the characters that were able to throw it. This makes the tabletop and navigating the battlefield much more interesting, much more challenging. It gives you more opportunities to use cover, to use line of sight blocking, to hide your characters without necessarily having the distinct drawback of size 4 and size 3 buildings or terrain features being extremely deadly in certain matchups. It also allows for a lot larger density of terrain, which is something that we've consistently been looking at, wanting to implement into the game, because the more terrain, the more interesting the battlefield, the more choices players will make, and just the more overall tactical enjoyment that we've found within the game. So this throw change is going to be a really big one as well. It went through a lot of iterations, a lot of different testing. We're very excited about it. It does give a lift to characters who have throws like Magneto, who's able to throw, size 1 terrain, now a lot more dangerous. Characters like Spider-Man, who has size 2 throw, get to utilize their throws more often. Characters who can throw large just have more opportunity to throw things. You can also use those throws to remove that line of sight or movement blocking in a more strategic and tactical way. So again, this is one of those ones that may take a little bit of adjustment, but we've really seen the benefits of it, and we're excited for what it means for the game going forward. Additionally, there's a lot of other smaller updates and clarifications that are happening in the rulebook. Those will all be covered in the article. But perhaps the most interesting one, that is the last one that I want to cover, which is brand new to the core rules, is in Appendix 1, which includes rules for new objective token types that are going to be part of the upcoming Crisis card pack releasing early next year. This pack, as we showed at Adepticon 2026, or we teased at Adepticon 2026, is the Tolerance is Extinction Narrative Crisis card pack. This pack brings a brand new mechanic to Crisis cards with what are called source extracts. Source extracts, you can kind of imagine, are containers. They are the things that hold the extract. They're not the extract themselves. So what interacting with these objectives thematically does is it gives you the ability to pull like the vial out of it. So instead of grabbing the serum vial off the ground itself, players are now interacting with the dispenser and they're getting the vial from the dispenser. The source extracts are really interesting because what it does is it means that players can grab extracts, but most source extracts disappear at the end of the round or on other conditions when they're dropped. This means that players will constantly have to go back to source extract objective tokens to get more extract tokens to be able to score. So what it does is changes the play pattern on how we've seen extracts go, where you grab an extract, retreat with it, and then try to score it for the rest of the game. You now have to really think about your positioning, knowing that you're going to have to go back and multiple times throughout the course of the game over the number of rounds, interact with the source extract to make things work. You'll see on the other side that we have a brand new secure objective from the Zero Tolerance Crisis card pack. This one has a fun mechanic where one of the secures will turn off throughout the different rounds, so you always have to be dynamically adjusting. And these two create a pair in the narrative scenario campaign. If you've played War of Kings, then you know that in addition to just providing brand new crisis cards that you can mix and match, there's also a narrative campaign structure that allows you to pair the crisis cards together to tell the story of the comic event that the crisis card pack is drawing from. This one represents the X-Men breaking into Bastion's containment facility and trying to spring their friends from his imprisonment. These two crisis cards that you see on the screen are going to be made available as print and plays for you all to be able to download later today, and they are going to be game legal, so you can immediately start adding them to your games of Marvel Crisis Protocol and start to get used to how these source objectives really change the nature of the game and how they'll play when the other 8 exciting crisis cards that have yet to be revealed from this pack do become available to you all as players as well. You'll also see that we're not done with the Sentinel goodness. Operation Zero Tolerance also introduces a brand new character in the Omega Sentinels, or the Prime Sentinels, excuse me. Omega Sentinel, Prime Sentinel. I always get those two mixed up. In the Prime Sentinels. So these are humans that have been metamorphed by Bastion's nanobots into Sentinel Hunters. Much like their larger cousins, the Mark IV Sentinels, these Prime Sentinels can be taken in pairs. So you can take 2 of them. The box will include 2 so that you can maximize that out. These guys add another really interesting lower threat option for building out full rosters or full squads dedicated purely around the Sentinels themselves. All right. Moving on from this crisis card pack, the new crises and everything else, all of the documents that are going to be available later today, including the character rebalances, the updated core rulebook, and these cards. We, of course, have more repacks coming as well, as discussed at the start of Adepticon. So if there are characters that are still missing from your collection or you have been unable to get, know that those are still on the plan and will be rolling out over the course of the next year as well. One of the things that we did at Gen Con, speaking of events that we went to in person, is we surprised everyone by sneaking in a couple of Gamma-powered characters into the display case. Very excited to show you the full unit character pack for these guys, which is the Leader, Red Hulk, and Sensational She-Hulk. These characters will be coming out later next year onto your tables. Red Hulk does bring a brand new leadership and affiliation. Sensational She-Hulk is a brand new version of She-Hulk, and the Leader adds some pretty fun new tricks and powers to the affiliations that he slots into. So this will be a very, very exciting pack to see hit onto tables, and that Red Hulk is just incredible. He does have some alternate build options, including half of the smashed car that he can use to bludgeon you with if that's what you choose. So some cool hobby content and choice there. All right. Now, I need everyone to take a breath and prepare themselves, because what we're about to show you is one of the most highly anticipated mutant villains that we have been waiting internally to spring upon the community for quite some time. And it's the one and only Onslaught. Onslaught is going to be storming onto tables later next year. Glorious, absolutely glorious miniature. Perhaps one of my favorites from all the ones that we've shown. And that's a high bar because we've shown quite a bit of cool stuff. But if you're a Marvel vs. Capcom fan, like myself, Onslaught is just one of those characters that is absolutely captivating, and it is super thrilling to finally be able to bring him to the game. He is one of the few characters that when we started the whole process, our lead developer, Will Pagani, was like, we have to do Onslaught. This character just looks cool. I don't even care what he does. And Onslaught is making his triumphant entrance into Marvel Crisis Protocol. He likely will have some things to say about the Sentinels. He'll likely have some things to say about the X-Men. He's got his own agenda, and he's an absolute monster. We also have some pretty cool terrain that's going to be coming next year, building out. Speaking of, the changes to terrain throws and how we're looking at really increasing the viability and interest on tables. The Dark Dimension terrain, which is coming in a number of different packs. This stuff is just eye-catching and glorious on the table, from the Dimensional Incursion, like Shumagorath style monster, to the Destroyed Sanctum, where Doctor Strange got a little too willy-nilly with his spells, to just more Dimensional Incursions. Seeing the stuff on a tabletop, it really sets the stage and brings everything together. There's some awesome one-shot cards that go with this to add additional rules to really get that Dimensional Incursion flair into your games. I can't wait for people to be able to see that. And the scale is just not done justice on these frames. Like, these things, the Sanctum and the Dimensional Incursion, like Shumagorath style monster, they're massive. They're huge pieces. It's been really fun to be able to work on this and to just see more of the Marvel Universe be able to be reflected on the tabletop itself. And speaking about spooky and Dimensional Incursions, Crisis Protocol, even further into the future, will be getting a lot more spooky with Screamtacular characters, including the Orb, Blackheart, and Jack-O-Lantern. So a couple of deep cuts here for maybe some folks. Again, talking about that Marvel vs. Capcom, Blackheart, Marvel Superheroes. If you were a fan of that fighting game, you'll recognize Blackheart right away. Everyone's favorite thing about this pack, besides the Orb and how amazingly awesome he is, it's a giant eyeball man on a motorcycle. He's Ghost Rider's like #1 arch nemesis. Like, what more could you ask for? It's got to be the little devil doll on Jack-O-Lantern's base. We have a lot of folks internally who have claimed they are going to adopt that little guy when he shows up. But just a fun kind of cut into the Marvel Universe itself. Rounding out our future look of things to be excited for and coming before we do this all over again at AdeptCon 2026 is the new Avengers are going to be making their entrance into the game, with Hulk and Wiccan Speed being in one side of it. And then we also have the pairing side, which is America Chavez, Kate Bishop, and Patriot. So not only do these characters bring the brand new Avengers affiliation with them, they also, of course, slot into several other affiliations, bringing a host of new tools and tricks and abilities that players can utilize within their rosters and their squads. It's been a joy to work on these as well. I know Josh himself has poured his heart and soul into these characters. He's a huge new Avengers fan, and it's just fun to finally get to these characters and bring them onto the tabletop itself. And with that, I believe that not only did I finish on time, which people were questioning, but we have come to the conclusion of everything we have to show you for this roadmap. Now, as I mentioned, AdeptCon in March 2026, we're going to do a whole nother roadmap with a whole bunch of new stuff, a whole lot of new looks, everything else going on. But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate all of your passion, all of your excitement for these last 6 years, whether you're a new player or an old player. It's been a wild ride. We can't wait to do more. We're looking forward to continuing the rebalance program, to continuing to make this game the best it possibly can be, introducing new and exciting ways in which to engage and play with the game, and of course bringing all the exciting characters that have yet to see their time on the tabletop in the Marvel Universe to the game. Thank you again. Enjoy. Be sure to check out the website for all of the good article content and all of the documents that we talked about, ready and available for you to start playing with for free today. Till next time.
No Fantastic Four. People in chat are not happy. They're not liking it. They're not liking it. All right, let's talk about this. All right, we've got 20 minutes until Legion. 20 minutes. We've got a lot of stuff. This was actually a pretty good preview. They went for 37 minutes compared to 15 for Shatterpoint. I mean, that's my biggest takeaway is goodness gracious, that was unfortunate. But there's a lot to talk about here. I like some of this. Now, most of it was stuff we've already seen at Adepticon. But the rules, I think the rules change is probably the biggest thing. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that rules change is so let's go back. I got all of these in. Let's talk about all of this stuff. So there's a lot. All right. MCP stuff, because we got everything to talk about. Yeah, I'm not curious what the roadmap is an interesting term, right? Because these aren't really road maps. They're granted, it kind of is from a certain point of view. They're still giving you the the preview, but it's not like I expect a timeline usually with road maps. Yeah. So so Iron Lad, Ironmonger, King the Conqueror, and Rescue. We've seen those already. We knew that they were coming. I did not know. Now, this is maybe a little bit of my Marvel lack of knowledge. I'm not as comic book knowledgeable as I am about other franchises. But I didn't know that Iron Lad was Nathaniel Reed. So, or Richards, rather. Reed and Sue's kid. I didn't realize that he ended up with like Stark Tech or whatever. So that's interesting. So who knew? I didn't know that, but maybe I should have. Would have liked to see another web slinger. Yeah, well, they're gonna show. I think Adepticon will have the biggest. They typically want Adepticon to be the biggest reveal. I wouldn't be surprised if they saved the Fantastic Four for an Adepticon reveal. That will get a big thing. It's just they've already gone kind of past the hype of the movie, but the movie did just come out on Disney Plus, so it still would have been a good time if you wait till next April. Maybe it'd be closer to Doomsday, because if they do, that's probably got to be it, right? If they do, I think hopefully we'll have a Doomsday trailer by then. But if they're going to announce Fantastic Four, they have to also announce Doom. So if nothing else, I think at Adepticon they'll at least close with a teaser for the Fantastic Four. Somebody said in the chat that they saw teasers for Fantastic Four throughout all this stuff, so that's interesting. So we got to look at Iron Lad, Ironmonger. Apparently, he's going to be on a 65 millimeter base, and he's the first 3 threat on there, so that's going to be interesting for him. They did say Rescue was going to be the first like dedicated or focused healer, which I like the idea that she can also pull somebody out of danger. That's just cool to me. I've always liked the Rescue character, and I like that she's doing that. I hope she has a second head sculpt. Adepticon is the end of March. Yeah, that would make sense, because anything they preview at Adepticon, theoretically there'll already be a trailer. So if we're not sure like what the Doom character is going to look like, it's very possible that they've gotten concept art from Disney already that gives them an idea of how to create a Doom that's going to maybe be a hybrid. They might be going with like a comic Doom. They may go with a MCU version of Doom. And I mean, granted, I guess if you saw Fantastic Four post-credit scene, you got a little bit of a hint, but I don't think that's how Doom is going to look in Doomsday, right? So I think they probably have all kinds of concept art and how he should be portrayed. I think they're definitely leveraging a lot of X-Men 97 stuff for what we're seeing here, and more semi-recent stuff. Kang was definitely a thing for a while. They didn't show us the Kang card yet, though. Adam Warlock, Moondragon, and Quasar. This is going to be another box. Adam Warlock looks cool. He's got a different Infinity Gem version coming with him. I'm more of a fan of Adam Warlock after playing Marvel Rivals, so that one is pretty cool. They had some typos out there. So this one was... I probably wouldn't have even caught it right away, admittedly. But yes. So apparently this is supposed to be Valkyrie on Elendil, and they said it's Valkyrie on Aragon, which is a different mount. I don't even think I have that character. So I probably wouldn't have noticed this. The interesting thing about this, though, is actually that they have the Warriors 3 characters on one base. They've kind of done that with like Shield and Hydra agents or whatever, but that's kind of cool to do stuff like that. I think that's fun. I want to go back to this guy. So people were saying there is a keyword called peerless, and I'm not sure how that works, but it's like basically a character that you can only have one version of in your whole list, which is an interesting one. Maybe they're too powerful or something like that. I thought Adam might have had it, so I want to go back and look at his art again. AMG doesn't do MCU style minis. They stay more true to the comics to an extent. They generally do, but there's definitely an MCU driving force behind it, and that's kind of where I'm going with it. And I think like for example, look at Black Widow having like the other version, like the white version that came out right when the Black Widow movie came out and stuff like that. Like it's like there's definitely something there that's like, you know, that's driving it. MCU 100% drives what comes with MCP, but they do also do a big, you know, comic influence. X-Men 97 had a huge impact on all of this stuff. We're getting Danny Moonstar, Havoc, Jubilee, and Multiple Man. Another typo on this one, where Havoc with a C as opposed to Havoc with a K. You know, little things, you know, that they need to clean up with, but that's not really a big deal. That's just promo stuff. They can fix that. That's not, you know, going to print. So just this is going to be a cool box. I've got to get that Jubilee. So this is one of those that's like a must buy for me, because I got to have all the X-Men. So that one's very cool. Havoc too. I care more about Havoc and Jubilee than Multiple Man and Danny Moons. I don't actually know who Danny Moonstar is. So, well, but Havoc, Jubilee, and Multiple Man I'm familiar with, and as a, you know, fan of the X-Men the animated series, and then also 90. How is he not a box of 4 different sculpts of him? Well, maybe he does have. Maybe it's a cost. It would have been really expensive to do it just like that. I think he's going to have a big token sheet. That's my thing. Is he's going to have a massive token sheet. Yeah. Why is it just Will on his own? They're treating this like an Adepticon thing. He was talking also about people are busy. Like the whole show kind of opened with a why is what was Adepticon. It used to be how many days, right? It was all of this. It was 3 days worth of stuff, paint streams, and they're like talking about it's just an evolution. I think it's honestly they don't have the rights to do painting streams anymore. I think that was probably a separate license or through with licensing with Lucasfilm and Disney and stuff like that. I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore, because like the fact that Dallas was just on Monument Hobbies YouTube channel doing painting, like I don't think they're allowed to stream themselves painting stuff anymore. The fact that they'll still stream stuff, but they have to be on somebody else's channel, is an interesting thing. So, yeah, Bastion, Nimrod, and Omega Sentinel. We've seen these already before. They're very cool. Again, big X-Men 97 push. You know, kind of steering the whole Sentinel storyline. Again, very, very, very cool stuff. I'm a big fan. Also, we did hit over 300 viewers. We're going to have another giveaway. This one's going to be a surprise. This one will be at the end, so we'll do a bonus giveaway as well. We are going to, give me a hashtag Armada. If you're a Star Wars Armada player, we're going to be giving away an Intensify Firepower. This was one of our other giveaways that we've already unlocked. And if we get to 400, we'll have another one. Give me a hashtag Armada if you want to win this one, and we'll announce this right before the Legion stream starts. We also have a Legion stream for Mandalorian Resistance, hashtag Mando if you want that, but save that for a little bit later. Let's do the Armada ones first. All right, let's see what else is next. Rebalances. They got a lot of stuff that's going live on the website after this. Sentinels are getting rebalanced. There's a couple of other things that were getting rebalanced. A couple of units getting their rebalanced stuff. New rules updates. Let's talk about the new rules updates. There's an appendix added to the new type of crisis cards, our new mission that are going to be coming with this Operation Zero card pack. Basically, you can get this new kind of extract. A new token type that basically something stays there, but you can pull something out of it, but it's temporary. And so they're going to have new rules for how all of that works, which is very cool. Some people were not happy with all the rules changes. They don't bother me as much because it doesn't impact the way that I play very much. But it does impact the way I think a lot of, organized play. And if you play in tournaments or if you play, like in an official capacity, it's a big change because there's now like a veto system for what crisis cards you're going to have. You can bring more now. It gives you a little more agency over it, and that's probably going to be. I mean, I don't have to play the game to know that that's going to be a massive change to the way that things are played. You have a little more agency over that. It's and there's a little more variety, and you can, so that's a cool thing. But some people probably might not like it as much if it hurts your ability to kind of guarantee that you get a certain crisis card. So I can understand that. They're changing a couple other things. the core rules adjustments. You're going to roll twice for first player. First you're going to roll for like deploying first, and then once all deployment is done, you roll again to see who actually activates first. That is a big change. It means you can't, you might be a little more defensive on where you set your guys up, and then also. The biggest one is changing for how you throw stuff. Collisions now is always a flat 3 damage. So if you're throwing like if Hulk throws like a size 4 building, it's not doing 5 damage to somebody anymore. You're not one-shotting people by throwing big things anymore. It's just a flat 3 damage. It also makes small terrain like a tire on the ground or a fire extinguisher, size 1 terrain more relevant now. It's unclear to me how much of an impact that's going to have on the game, but because I always wanted to make my maps just look cool anyway, and I don't really care about how much terrain is on there. I usually like to use a lot, but I want it to look cool more than I want it to be functional. So I don't think it's going to change the way I set things up, but it does mean that size 1 terrain is a lot more viable now. We'll have to see. And also, this pack comes with a pair of Prime Sentinels, where you can run the humans that were turned into Sentinels again. More X-Men 97 drive into a lot of that. The new packs, the new faction packs that are coming. Also, they talked about those, and then we get into the new stuff. Finally, these were in the case at Gen Con already, but Sensational She-Hulk, Leader, and Red Hulk. We're gonna have a new affiliation here, new pose options, and that looks exciting. So that is, oh gosh, people are very, very antagonistic towards AMG in the Twitch chat, which is very, I don't know, it doesn't do any good. I don't see any reason to really do that anymore. Onslaught, this looks awesome. This is going to be the big, like the big new, oh my gosh, of the year. So this, they didn't tell us really anything about him. I'm sure we'll get more of a preview at Adepticon, but Onslaught is going to be very, very cool. This is probably also a must-buy. He also doesn't look like he's too, big. He's tall. He looks like he's going to be like an Emmy, right? I think he's going to be like or an Academy Award. You're like, and I'd like to thank the X-Men for voting for me. Onslaught does look very, very cool. So that's an exciting one. All right. And the new terrain also seems very very fantastic. With our X-Men 97 themed. All right. So we'll see. I don't get as excited about the terrain because I usually use my own. But so the event is very scaled back from last time. Yes, this is a lot more. Along the mindset of how they did it before with Adepticon. We've got Blackheart, Jack-O-Lantern, and the Orb that were also previewed. I'm not familiar with these guys outside of Blackheart from Marvel Crisis Protocol. Or not, I'm sorry, not Marvel Crisis Protocol, but Marvel vs. Capcom. This does really make me want a Capcom tie-in. Like I really wish it was more than that. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of some of the Twitch chat is not happy about the ability to one-shot people by throwing trucks at them and stuff. And like, yeah, I can see that. And then Hulkling, Wiccan, and Speed will be coming as well. So that's cool. So you got especially if you're familiar with like WandaVision or Agatha All Along and some of those. Actually, funny thing is, how many of you have seen the Agatha All Along show? It was not something I expected I would have watched, and I loved it. It was really cool. Yeah, New Avengers affiliation we're getting with these guys. So, very cool stuff. I am just really surprised. We are about 8 minutes out from the Star Wars Legion stream. America Chavez, Kate Bishop, Kate Bidget, and Patriot. I'm getting my words confused. There we go. And that's all for MCP. Star Wars Legion starts next. We are gonna pick a winner from the Armada giveaway, and that's going to be Dexter D02. Congratulations, you've just won the Intensify Firepower for your Star Wars Armada stuff. Go ahead and shoot me an email at mailcrabbok@gmail.com. Tell me what you have won and your shipping address, and I'll get this one out to you. So congratulations. Yes. So that's one giveaway down. We have more. If we hit 400 viewers, we are almost there. Oh my goodness, we are almost there. Yeah, it's going to be a huge Dexter D02. All right, okay. All right. We are going to take. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break for fluids, bathroom, snacks, and then we are going to come back and we're going to talk about Star Wars Legion. Give me a hashtag Mando in the chat if you want to win this awesome Mandalorian Resistance promo, and we'll announce that after the Legion stream, and we'll be watching. Share this with your friends. With more subscribers we get, the more giveaways we're going to do. This is super exciting, folks. I'll be back in a few minutes. See ya. Be right back. All right, we are back. It is nearly time for Star Wars Legion. I want to hear your predictions, everybody. What are you predicting? Is this Gungan time? My biggest stuff, Gungans, the Ghost Crew. I have a feeling we're going to see Enfys Nest. They have already announced Mud Troopers. We're going to get a little bit of a look at the Mud Troopers for Star Wars Legion. But I want to see. Oh, I want to see more Pathfinders. I really do. I think there's options. You know. I think it could be really cool. It could be a fun time. But let me know in the chat. What do we see here? Whoa! I lost some of you guys. All right. Gungans. All right. I see Gungans. Let me know where you're watching from. Also, yes. Gungans, please. All right. Okay. Gungans. Let's see. Denver, Colorado, from Peru. We got Maine, Norman, Oklahoma, Central Texas. Oh, I spent some time in Central Texas. Canada, Tennessee, France. Well, you guys are watching from all over. Very, very cool. You excited for Star Wars Legion? I think the biggest thing though is the new card pack. There's supposed to be a new card pack that's going to be coming out, and it's going to have. I think the missions have kind of made the game a little stale. I'm not a big fan of the current like turn zero mission setup. They all feel very similar. There's like one where you have to go a little bit more aggressively into your opponent's territory, but overall they all feel mostly the same to me. And I feel like that was something that was lost because we've seen, wildly different missions in the past, escorting a bomb cart, or things where you just have to move your whole army into your opponent's force and they have to move their whole thing into your side. And I really liked a lot of those missions. There were ways to exploit them and everything, but it still made the games feel wildly different. And right now it's all, like this babysitter control point, and that's not as fun to me. But different people have different thoughts. We're going to be switching over here in just a minute. They're about to start. Here, yeah, they are getting ready. So as soon as they start, I'm going to cut things over. I will be cutting over as soon as they start us off. It's been exciting though. Hopefully you guys, any new units, I mean, yeah, outside of the Gunga, I hope there's new Jedi. I would love for Mace Windu to show up. Let's see, we got some more folks. Let's see, we see Provo, UT, I think it's Utah. Sackville, NS, Nova Scotia? I'm not sure. Kentucky. We've got, yeah. Oops, all Ewoks. Let's go. Honestly, I hope they fill out existing battle forces. Denmark. All right, from Connecticut. Ohio. All right. Yeah, well, they're turning up the music. They're turning it up. It's getting ready. We're getting close. But yeah, I'm excited. I want to see some new Jedi. I want to see some more custom characters, custom Mandalorians, customizable Inquisitors. I liked the customizable characters. More mounted heroes. That's why I think Enfys Nest would work from Solo. Bo-Katan. Yes, absolutely. Mandalorian faction. More Shadow Collective love. I mean, I think we're going to get previews of Hondo. I think we're going to get previews. Who do you think is going to be the fourth character in the new Dooku box that has Savage Opress in it, and with Asajj Ventress also? Do you think it's going to be Jango Fett? Do you think it's going to be somebody else? I expect to see that. Thrawn's card, it was mentioned in the chat earlier. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Ministravaganza 2025 Legion Roadmap. I'm the VP of Creative Development and Strategy, Will Schick, and boy howdy am I excited to be here with you all today. What a whirlwind this last year has been, huh? We had brand new starters just released. We've seen new players, returning players, and veteran players all crowding into the game. It's just been a wonderful time, very exciting, a culmination of a lot of our hard work internally and a lot of your patience, which we greatly appreciate for all of you out there. We're super excited to finally have the foundation firmly in place for everything that we're going to show and where the game is going forward. In addition to the roadmap today and all of the cool things that we're going to show for the future of the game, we're also going to be taking a bit of time to talk about the present, right now, today, points update, along with a bit of rulebook clarification, some new abilities being added, a couple being changed. We're looking at you, Cumbersome. We're going to quickly go over that stuff. I'll give you some high-level kind of discussions of that as we move through the presentation. But as always, there'll be a full article with all of the different information and everything on our website, along with the documents that'll be available after the stream and event kind of closes out. Additionally, if you want to know more about everything, as we mentioned at the front end, if you weren't here for the opening ceremonies, we've got a whole host of different podcast appearances and different media. We're going to be doing an AMA with Wargamer again. So if you want to hear more about the process, if you have questions or you want to hear more about why certain things are happening, maybe get a couple of extra spoilers into things that are coming forward, you can always look forward to those as well. Myself, along with many others of us from the studio, will be attending those across the course of next week. So lots of good things yet to come. But let's just go ahead and kick things off with a bang. Tony.
Where's the AT-AT there?
All right, so incredible video done by our own Tony Kondacek and creative director Dallas Kemp. Keen-eyed viewers, I'm sure you all caught the new alternate sculpts for Commander Leia and Darth Vader, but did you catch the first look at the hard plastic snowtroopers and Rebel veterans? Probably did. Of course, a very fun way to kind of look at some of the releases that we did preview at Adepticon 2026, but in cinematic glory. The new Army boxes, I want to take a second to talk about those because they are brand new to the new product catalog of Legion 2nd Edition. Army boxes are effectively bundles of products of different units and things like that that are going to be available on a limited release basis for players to be able to jump into as early adopters or to start a brand new sub-faction within a faction and things like that. They will include a special edition alternate sculpt of a character as kind of an extra kicker in addition to their bundled discount. You're going to be seeing these coming out over the course of the next several years, tied to thematic releases, looking back on things. It's a really exciting way for us to be able to offer new entry points for existing players to be able to jump into brand new releases, into a different faction, those types of things. I do want to make very clear, though, that Army boxes are not starter boxes. They do not contain any of the required materials, so there's no dice, there's no tools, there's no battle deck in them. Players who want to start with an Army box will need to acquire those things in whatever way they can, whether that's by getting those elements from the Essentials pack or things like that, or getting them from an existing player, whatever kind of works within your community. So there are two very different things. And of course, Army boxes are not forever friends. They will come and they will go. So that we really wanted to encourage and reward veteran players, people who want to be early adopters to these things, and give them a way in which to dive right in, whole hog, right away. Each box will make a 600-point recon army. So they are great to be able to dive right in and start playing either in a Tours of Duty or in your normal game night with normal games. We're going to be seeing those boxes coming out early next year, along with some of the things that we're going to dive into and take a look at the rules because I've already seen them a couple of times. We're going to start off with that awesome probe droid. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rules for the probe droid itself. In addition to the unit card that you're seeing here now, there will be a new upgrade card that is not included in the box but is going to be added to the game as a print and play. That allows players to be able to utilize even more probe droids throughout their force, especially in those ice cold blizzard forces, which really can make maximum use of the probe droids. So it's very fun to be able to explore kind of this unit, to see this iconic droid from the Empire be brought into the game, and then to explore its use throughout a couple of different ways in which players can utilize them. Next up, probably one of the most exciting things from my vantage point. I've explained my love of the Super Empire Strikes Back game for the SNES and having Luke on the Tauntaun with the lightsaber whapping weird Hoth creatures in that game. We have Han and Luke on the Tauntauns. You'll notice that while Luke remains a commander option in his mounted form, Han Solo has taken his maverick aggression, his see you in hell mentality, and turned into a pretty offensive operative. Of course, these characters also come with several new command cards that will incentivize their play, and they make great additions to the Echo Force or Echo-based Defenders battle force. Moving to the next reveal for cards, one that Empire players have been waiting for quite some time. I think overall Legion players have been waiting for quite some time. Grand Admiral Thrawn, as revealed in the Imperial High Command box, is going to be coming to Legion. Here's the first look at his rules, as well as one of his command cards, the rest cheekily hidden behind it, just as Thrawn would want. He doesn't want you to know all his tricks just yet. This character was a great joy to work on, also a great pain to work on. He's such an iconic character. He has so much great narrative around him, the way in which players expect him to play, how we wanted him to be represented on the tabletop for Legion itself. He went through a lot of different iterations, a lot of different work. Kudos to the development team and the playtesters for really bringing home what I think is a great Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Legion gameplay mechanics that he has. Another character that's going to be coming alongside Thrawn is Grand Moff Tarkin, iconic Episode 4 villain, holds Vader's leash, and a very unique character in terms of kind of Legion in general. You'll see that he's not really much of an offensive guy. He has a melee attack because you can throw an old man punch once or twice. But where Tarkin really excels is in getting others to do his dirty work, in breaking down and demoralizing enemy forces and ruling by fear. We had a lot of fun really working with him. Of course, one of the big thematic pushes was to make sure that he paired exceptionally well with Vader. If you see Tarkin, you really want to see Vader. And so a lot of the thought process went into that. Of course, he plays very well with his other compatriots, but making sure that we hit that thematic pairing was at the forefront of our minds. So these two will be coming alongside General Tog, who you're going to have to wait a little bit to see what he's doing. And of course, a brand new resculpt in hard plastic of Director Krennic. We've seen players get their hands on General Grievous and his wheel bike, one of the first mounted characters for the game. And of course, everyone's been looking forward to his cronies, the wheel bikes themselves. Here's the first look at the general stat card for the unit. As one would expect, they pair quite well with General Grievous on the wheel bike, but of course they add some new options to the Separatist army as well with their mobility and their durability, kind of splitting between the lines. You can upgrade them to be the Magna Guard drivers as well, which gives them a little bit more of a melee punch. For folks who took the plunge on Legion with the launch, you likely got yourselves a Hondo Anaka early release. For everyone who might have missed out or didn't grab a starter, don't worry, you can have this famous pirate captain as well as multiple units of his Weequay pirates. As we've discussed previously, the Hondo Anaka can be built as a general pirate commander, which allows you to field multiple Weequay units and Hondo as well as you'd like. Shadow Collective players rejoice. A brand new unit is going to be joining your criminal folds with the Weequays. It's a very fun unit, of course, ties very thematically with Hondo Anaka, and will be featured in a new Raiders battle force that we'll be talking more about probably around the time of Adepticon next year. So you can look forward to that. And of course, part of that new battle force and Shadow Collective forces and available to anyone as a mercenary is the WLO5 speeder tank. So for those who saw this miniature at Adepticon, it is glorious, it is massive, it is super cool. It's one of my favorite tank designs from Star Wars, surprisingly. I never knew that I loved this thing as much until I saw the miniature for it. Another really exciting and enjoyable one for us to work on development-wise. We really got to dive into the idea of what does a light tank kind of look like for this group and for this type of outfit and weapon, and then how does it factor into that upcoming battle, that Raiders battle force that I talked about as well. So it has some neat tricks that are not necessarily on the card when you're using it within that battle force itself and finding those things to go along. Perhaps the most exciting thing that we're going to show today, or maybe the most anticipated thing. I don't know if it's the most exciting. We got a long way to go, and I'm expecting some real good excitement in the chat. But one of the most anticipated things has been new missions, new primaries, new secondaries, Battle Deck, Card Pack 2, we've talked about it. Here it is. Here is one of the brand new sets, so a primary and a secondary coming from that. You can look at it in all its glory and see it, but don't worry about grabbing those screenshots because we're going to be making this available as a print and play. Yes, that's right. These are going to be game legal. You can start adding them to your battle decks right away and begin playing with this new set of missions as you go. So Outflank and Supply Run will be available to you. Of course, there are several others in the box. We'll be revealing those as time goes on, but we wanted to give you some special additional game content today and allow you to start exploring the new mission feel and parameters within your games right away. Along with the new primaries and secondaries in the box, we are also going to be introducing new faction-specific advantages. Each faction is going to get 2 advantages specific to them in the battle deck. We're giving you, again, early access, 1 for each of the factions, so you can also download, print, and play these, and add them to your battle decks as well. So there's 1 for each of the different factions. It was very exciting to be able to dive in and kind of think of advantages in terms of what does each faction represent, to explore the faction design space, the theme behind them, and really start to work on this. And it opens up a whole new level of how we can use the various cards in the battle deck to really drive home the story and the themes of Star Wars and the galaxy itself. back in June, for those who are around, we did a surprise drop that included points, but also included a whole batch of new upgrade cards drawn from the upcoming Upgrade Card Pack 2, which we'll be releasing next year. Well, you've had one early access card drop. Why not a second? And today, as well, we're excited to be able to preview, but also to be offering, as officially game legal and print and plays, this set of 4 upgrade cards, 1 for each faction. These are brand new character upgrade cards, so they can go into units. If you've ever played against Ahsoka and her clone friends as the commander unit upgrade, you'll know exactly how these things work. But this goes along with our design philosophy we talked a lot about. One of our big pushes for the new edition was always thinking about how do we get more of those iconic characters onto the table in a meaningful way that works with how Legion's overall goal and gameplay functions. And so adding these iconic characters to units as unit attachments really has not only brought that visual to fruition where we can see more of these characters, it also brings a lot of unique customization and opportunity for players to really incentivize different builds to bring out the best in units that may not be at the top of the pile, and to add some really cool, fun abilities that we're able to play with, like Cassian Andor and his flip mechanic here. So these 4 cards are also going to be made available after the end of the event. There's going to be an article that talks all about that and everything, so you can kind of take a look at it, but you're going to be able to bring those right away. But that's not all. But wait, there's more. There's also 2 new battle forces that we're going to be giving you today. The 212th Attack Battalion and the Stormtrooper Battalion. The 212th Clone Battalion, this is, of course, Obi-Wan and Clone Commander Cody's kind of personal battalion. These guys focus on a combined arms approach, as you can kind of imagine if you've ever played with or against Clone Commander Cody. And it has a lot of benefits for fielding vehicles and using combined arm approach with vehicles, a balance of vehicles and units. Specifically, vehicles are allowed to spend aim and dodge tokens from allied clone trooper units within range 2, and you also can take up to 3 heavy slots within the battle force. The Stormtrooper Battalion, on the other side, really puts the focus on the iconic vision of Imperial Might, the Stormtrooper. It is a very limited battle force, but what it lacks in diversity, it makes up for in a host of special rules that really allow you to bring out the best of the Empire's elite troops. Between target and other things that go with the commanders, the idea behind this battle force was to allow players who want to play that kind of iconic Stormtrooper battalion that we see so often in the movies to its maximum potential. And we're really excited to have this one to bring those kind of new opportunities to it and to see how players adjust and adapt to these different forces coming into the fray. As if all of this content wasn't enough, we now have to dive in and talk a little bit about what to expect from the core rules update and the points adjustment update that are also going to be landing today. And I want to start with the core rules. So specifically in the core rules adjustment, the 2 things that I want to talk about are 2 new keywords. So you're going to see the new keywords for anti-material, which people have been wondering about since Tours of Duty, and anti-personnel, which is kind of the opposite, the mirror of anti-material. These new keywords work off of the upgrading and downgrading dice system, so you can check those out and finally have the exact ruling for how those cards work, or for how those keywords work. The one that I specifically want to call out and give you, though, is one that we've talked about quite a bit on different podcasts. The community has had a lot of discourse about it. How would you change cumbersome? Well, I can tell you how we did it and how it's going to appear in this new core book, which is cumbersome now says when a unit adds a weapon with the cumbersome keyword to an attack pool, it downgrades each of that weapon's attack dice if that unit has made any moves during the same activation. So our big challenge with how to approach cumbersome is we loved the theme. We loved kind of the restriction of if you're a big, chunky, heavy weapon, you have to set up, right? Not moving is going to make you more accurate. The problem is the previous rule obviously was very restrictive. It was kind of feels bad. It wasn't a great play experience because it locked in the rest of the unit from being unable to do stuff. We feel with this change, we're going to lessen the negative drawback of cumbersome. It provides player options and opportunities, and it still kind of maximizes the idea that when these weapons work the best is when you stand and shoot with them, when you take your time to set them up, to aim with them, and that kind of thing. So we're very interested to see how this affects those units that can take those heavy weapons. In our internal testing and our iterations with playtesters, it worked very well. It was an exciting kind of change that added new dynamism to these weapons and made them more viable choices across the places and where they could be taken. Now let's talk about points adjustments and what to kind of expect. I'm not going to give you every single points adjustment because you can just check out the document for that, but I do want to highlight a few of the more major ones that I think players will be most interested in. And of course, as I mentioned before, if you're interested in really getting the inside skinny on this, I would check out any of your favorite Legion podcasts. We're going to be on several of them next week, and I have no doubt that they'll be asking us plenty of questions about the design intent, the development philosophy, and all that stuff behind these. The ones that I want to call out right now, Unstable Astromech, that upgrade is increasing from 4 points to 12. Of course, this is in response to what we've seen it done with the Land Speeder and Rebels, and just kind of its outsized impact outside of the AA5. Fleet Troopers and Rebel Trooper squad upgrades are both decreasing by 5 points to 40 points per upgrade. This goes back to some of the work that we did in the previous points updates where we talked about how, initially we were conservative on the larger squad sizes. We wanted to make sure that we didn't push the needle too far. However, that conservative approach has kind of made some of those less viable than we want, so we have drawn back the points on those. Moff Gideon is seeing a 20-point reduction, so he's going down to 80 points. This reflects our continuing design philosophy behind, again, seeing more characters. Again, it kind of goes to our initial evaluations of the fact that you can only ever take a single character versus being able to take multiples of the same character. With units, you can take multiples of that, which gives you a force multiplier that you can't really get out of characters. Allows us to be more aggressive on their points, which then goes back to giving players more points to spend on units and interesting upgrades, as well as seeing more characters on the table. This also allows a bit more viability to taking the Darksaber with him, as he has a significant points cut, but you can bring him back up to his offensive capability by taking that upgrade as well. Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister are also being reduced by 8 points each. Again, this goes back to the philosophy behind characters and trying to bring more viability to them. Gar Saxon is also decreasing by 5 points, and his sniper rifle upgrade is also decreasing by 5 points, which allows him to kind of take the overall package that we envision and want for him, which is with that cool sniper rifle, more easily and to be a bit more of a potent and efficient choice. And of course, the one that everyone has been waiting for, that everyone has expected, Aqua Droids are increasing in points. They're increasing by 13 points, going to 78 for the unit. This, of course, reflects their outsized efficiency and what we've seen from them through the data analysis and the different tournament results and the game results and the community feedback. So those are the ones that I wanted to highlight. Again, there are several more in the document, so be sure to go check that out. This, as with every points update, is an ongoing kind of process with us. So if you see things that you don't expect and things that you expected but didn't see, don't take that as they're never going to get adjusted. As always, we're going to continue to monitor the community. We're going to continue to collect all of the data we can from both casual and competitive events, from player feedback, tester feedback, everything else. And we're going to continue to make measured adjustments to make sure that we're always pushing the game to be the best experience that it can be. Within our ability to do so. One of the things that we always like to do is, of course, we have a November developer update. We've kind of rolled that into Ministrav just based on how the timing of everything went. But in April, we'll be doing another full-on developer update, as players have come to expect. In that update and discussion, a couple of the things that we are currently working on and you should expect to hear more on in April are some adjustments currently in testing for the Wookiee units, both Wookiee Warriors and Liberators, and Rebel Commandos. So we're looking at increasing the efficiency and viability of those 3 units, in addition to several other items as well. And of course, anything that needs adjustment before that period, if we feel that it is critical and we are confident in those adjustments, we will make them. But realistically, you should probably expect that it'll be April again when we kind of come around and start talking about points and those kinds of adjustments. All right, and with that, Tony, I think we can safely say that this party's over. Yes, that's right. It's time to start looking at what is coming in the future, the things that are unexpected, have not been shown yet, and where better to start than with Mace Windu. So Mace Windu is coming to Star Wars Legion finally for Galactic Republic players, but he's not coming alone. He's bringing the whole Jedi Council with him. So next year, you're going to see the release of Ki-Adi-Mundi, Mace Windu, Plo Koon, and Shaak Ti as brand new commanders and operatives, a mix of them, to Star Wars Legion. So get ready. You can add even more lightsabers to your Galactic Republic armies. Of course, it's been a joy to be able to work on these characters, to bring these iconic Jedi to the game. It's something that we've been waiting to do for so long. Being where we are now with the foundation of the second edition has allowed us to really start to dive in. And this is just the start. If that's not enough Jedi for you, then let me introduce you to the first mounted characters for Galactic Republic, which is Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker mounted on bark speeders. This kind of goes back to some of those iconic moments that we've seen throughout Star Wars media, with Obi-Wan leading the charge on the bark speeder from the Clone Wars series. And these two characters, again, bring a whole new dimension to what they do, to how they function on the tabletop, with Obi-Wan Kenobi being a commander, Anakin Skywalker being an operative. And it's been a blast to kind of see these, and especially to play them against the wheel bike Grievous threat that is there. And so a whole new level of high octane. I guess I can't say octane, they don't run on gas, but you get what I'm saying. Speeder forces going on here. And if that wasn't enough, this set can also be used to create a generic Jedi commander on the bark speeder as well, so you can get even more mounted Jedi for your enjoyment and play experiences out of this one set. These guys are going to be coming later next year alongside the Jedi Council, and they really open up a whole new level of playing experiences for that faction, and I'm very excited to see players get their hands on it and to build my own speeder bike centric army, because those are my favorite out of all the builds. Speed is king. For those who joined us at Gen Con or saw the photos, you know that we also stealth revealed Savage Opress as one of the new characters for the Separatist Alliance coming out. We mentioned in some of the interviews that we did at the show that there was a hidden new character that was also going to appear in that pack. And I know the community has been rife with different thoughts about who that character could be. I'm here to tell you that I hope you Separatist Alliance players are not afraid of spiders, because that mystery character is Admiral Trench. So the Leaders of the Separatist Alliance pack is going to be coming out. This is going to have a hard plastic resculpt of Count Dooku. It's going to be where you can get Asajj and the General Grievous from the starter box. It's also going to introduce Savage Opress and Admiral Trench as brand new characters for Separatist Alliance, and Savage will also be usable by Shadow Collective as well. Whew, there's so much stuff, and we're not even done. I think we have even more stuff to talk about. Let's jump out of the Clone Wars. Let's jump back into the Galactic Civil War, and let's talk about the arrival of a brand new character unit that features everyone's favorite scoundrels from A New Hope, Han Solo and Chewbacca. This new mercenary unit captures the pair as we first meet them in Episode 4 in the Mos Eisley Cantina. This is before they're fighting for a cause bigger themselves, and they're only in it for the money. It's been such a joy to be able to go back to these different versions of these characters to bring new life and intriguing things to them through the sculpts, through the miniatures, through the game rules and everything else. And truly doing these two, this iconic duo, as a character unit within the game rules, as we kind of laid out the foundation with Bad Batch, has been a real joy. And having them as mercenaries obviously opens them up to appear in future battle forces and to see kind of like a way in which we as players can explore their scoundrel days before they really threw all of their chips into the Rebel Alliance pot. If you joined us a few weeks ago for the War Gamer AMA, or if you saw the aftermath of that, you do kind of know what to expect from this next reveal, which is that later in the year, later next year, early 2027 as well, we're going to be diving into the events of Solo with some brand new Empire releases, specifically themed around the Mimban campaign there with the Mud Troopers. So we showed off this amazing artwork overseen by our art director, Preston Stone. We want to give you an advanced early look at the unit and the sculpts for that unit, which have been done by our fantastic engineering and sculpting team. So the Imperial Mud Troopers. This is a brand new core unit for Empire. These guys bring a very different play style in that they are very cheap cannon fodder kind of like guys. They're not highly trained like stormtroopers, but they fill the ranks and they fight for the glory of the Empire. And as kind of a lesser tier of Imperial trooper, they do require the support from their stormtrooper brethren. And so alongside them, you're going to be getting the wet weather stormtroopers we see in Solo. So these environmentally geared up guys, they're an elite kind of team, an elite within the elite of the stormtroopers. And these two units together will kind of form the backbone of the 224th MIMBAM Armored Assault Division Battle Force, which will be releasing alongside of them. So you can add these to your normal Empire armies. You can also dive in and live your solo dreams with the specific battle force. All of this stuff will be coming out approximately late 2026 to early 2027 of next year. Rounding out the host of our previews for this set of roadmaps is a unit that I'm very excited to be able to show. And one of the special things that we get to do every once in a while with LFL is kind of to create unique things for the games that we do. And the Rebel Guerrilla Troopers take a lot of different concepts that we've seen throughout the Star Wars galaxy and congeal them into one kind of cohesive idea for the Rebel Alliance in Star Wars. And that is these hard-bitten kind of behind enemy lines troopers that scavenge and steal Imperial equipment to outfit themselves for long, hard-bitten campaigns behind enemy lines. This unit has been a lot of fun to work on, from the initial concepting and the ideas that were done by Preston and Dallas, to the artwork and the color compositions, to the sculpting and everything else. And I'm really excited to reveal more about this unit as we get closer to their release later next year and early 2027. Probably more information to come in the Adepticon roadmap as well. So, with that, there's been a lot of stuff. There's so much stuff for you to go grab right away and start adding to your games. The new sample mission from the new Battle Deck Part 2. The new character upgrades from the Upgrade Pack Part 2. The 2 new battle forces. The points update. The core rules update. And of course, all of the amazing things that are going to be coming your way to the game. Thank you so much for all of your support, your passion, your play, and everything that you've done to make this game a global phenomenon. We can only hope to be worthy of all of the passion and excitement around it. We will continue to hopefully surprise and entertain you, delight you with new ways to experience Legion, and to bring more of the Star Wars galaxy into the tabletops and on Legion games. Always remember, though, that while rebellions are built on hope, the most important bit to success is building a family. And with that, Ministravaganza 2025, all the roadmaps, all the games, all the game content, all the good stuff, we are wrapped. So thank you again, everyone who joined us today, everyone who watched the different roadmaps, whether you were at all of them, whether you were at one of them. We couldn't do what we do here at Atomic Mass Games without the amazing players who play the games and proselytize how incredible the hobby and the experiences are across the world. Continue to be the best, continue to show people how enjoyable the communal experience of these games, the connection, the emotional attachments, the friendships that we make along the way are all so important. From all of us here at Atomic Mass, thank you for continuing this adventure with us. We can't wait to show you even more exciting future previews at Adepticon 2026 in March. Until next time, Atomic Mass Transmission signing off.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. No Gungans. No Gungans. No Gungans. I was wrong. Or was I really? Every time I ask for Gungans, they push it back. And we didn't get Enfys Nest, so I still lost a bet. But they did. To give us the Ghost Crew, they gave us confirmation that the Ghost Crew is coming. So that was one of the things. And I got Mace Windu, which was another thing. Didn't get Mother Talzin. I was wrong on most of my guesses. I was hoping for the Ghost Crew, though. That is wild. Wild. All right, first thing I want to do, the Mandalorian. We're going to do another giveaway, but we're going to do this one first. The Mandalorian Resistance. I said we'd do this once the Mandalorian stream was over. We did pass 500 viewers. We're going to do one more giveaway on top of this, which is incredible. Over 500. This is bonkers. We're going to do a Starship also. Mandalorian Resistance. Also, give me this is the Defiant. We're going to give away a Star Trek Defiant from Into the Unknown from WizKids. We're going to give this away. So give me a hashtag Defiant if you want to win this one. For the Mandalorian Resistance, this one's going to... we're going to pick... Turkey Dog 4884. Congratulations, Turkey Dog 4884. You're going to win this one. And just shoot me an email at mailcrabbok.com. Tell me what you've won. We're doing a lot of giveaways, and people are going to... I'm going to forget who won what. So congratulations, Turkey Dog. Yeah, shoot me an email. I need your shipping information as well. Let me know what you've won. All right. Let's see. Okay, got that written down. All right, we're good there. So now, let's talk about all of the stuff that... Gosh, there's so much stuff to talk about with Legion. I also want to know from you guys, what was your number one reveal? What was your popular thing? Because there was so many things. I think for me, it was the Jedi Council pack. That one is the biggest one for me. I think that's going to be the biggest surprise for most people who are like haven't seen this yet. They're going to be tuning in late. Yeah. So that was huge. We're gonna run through everything again. Let's go through all of this. Our Shatterpoint stuff, MCP stuff, and we already talked about all of that. If you're just joining in, they've already covered Shatterpoint and MCP. You can rewind all of those things. Okay, so we got our Imperial Probe Droid. Also, like new rules, new points. A lot of print and play stuff is going to be going online. And we're going to talk about all that next week and then the weeks after. There's, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. He's got Observe 3, Self-Destruct 3, Detachment for Special Forces, and he is a Special Forces, which is interesting. And there's going to be another upgrade card they talked about that's going to allow you to take like multiple. So I'm guessing you can run like 6 probe droids or something, maybe more. Who knows? I don't know exactly how they're going to do all that. Disengage. And then infiltrate and hover air. A lot of this is stuff we all expected that they would have. You know, observe and self-destruct and infiltrate, hover. Yeah, like all of that. You could almost this guy almost kind of wrote himself. So that is very good. I see some of you guys are saying it was the Jedi Council, Jedi Barks, the Ghost Crew. Ghost Crew is definitely a big one. That one seems like it's gonna be farther out. We'll probably get a little bit. They say in 2027. So. Yeah, that's what I expect. That one's going to be a long ways out. But another thing is the ability, what's live now, the ability to put stuff in, to be able to put stuff in existing units, like Cassian Andor can now just go into Rebel Core and stuff like that's super cool. So I like that. I like a lot of that stuff that they're doing. We got the Luke and Tauntaun. Luke and Hauntaun. Oh my goodness, that's going to be the name of the list, right? Luke and Hauntaun? The Hauntaun list? Yeah, Luke on the Tauntaun. He's got the lightsaber and horn. What? Oh, the horn of the Tauntaun. He's... Okay, that... I thought he was... Like he's blowing a horn, like the horn of Gondor or something like that. I'm like, what? Yeah. The blaster gains long shot. Okay. He's got, sorry, Spotter 1, Take Cover 1, Immune to Pierce, Inspire 2, Relentless. Relentless is good. Okay. Reposition, Spur and Unhindered, and Ram 1, which is going to be really nice for the lights. It's 3 white, 3 black. It's just a very interesting way to look at him. Han Solo. I don't know if we're getting any new cards for these guys, but this is operative Han Solo. This is honestly, he needs, if they don't give Han Solo a new command card that says "I'll see you in hell," then they've failed. Like, I mean, there may be some, you know, like, hey, we don't want to print that on a card, but he said it. It's beautiful. It's like, it was an incredibly powerful line for that movie, an incredible powerful line for his character at this point. I really hope that they can actually print that. They really do need to give you. Zen Ronan says, has anybody else noticed that in the key art they used to introduce Mace Windu is also a Django tease? Yeah, I definitely expect that is coming in its own thing. I have said for a while that I thought Django was popular enough to carry his own separate release. I do think we're going to see Django and Bounty Hunters as a separate box, like a 4-pack. That's what they're doing. They're putting multiple characters in a box now, and that's a smart way to do it. Retailers like that more. All of this is good. So Han he's got Arsenal 2. Oh man, this is going to be the best way to run Han. Oh, and then Chewie is still going to get his benefits with Han, right? If you run Chewbacca, like on the ground, like, oh my, did they announce Gungans? No. A lot of other good stuff, though. A lot of other good stuff. Charge, independent, aim 1, and dodge 1. Han getting charge is interesting. Because the blaster's versatile. Oh man, he's a really good Han. He's better than Luke. He's probably gonna be more expensive than Luke too. Goodness, spur, uncanny. He has Ram 1 on the Tauntaun. This is gonna be such a cool, and they're gonna go into echo-based defenders too, which is amazing. We got a look at some of the Imperial High Command stuff. Thrawn, who, again, another character that almost writes himself. Strategize 2, Cunning, Direct Imperial Unit, Duelist. I was a little surprised with Duelist. I expected him to not be helpless, because, again, Rebels does kind of show him as being capable. And in the books also kind of, he's capable. He doesn't do it as much, but he is capable. He's actually a little bit better than capable here. 3 red for his blaster's not bad. 4 red for his martial arts. Okay. Exemplar and 1 step ahead. He's got that Lando ability and Exemplar, which is also good, and Tactical 1. So he can move around and just support people. He's got a lot of stuff that he can do. He looks good. Looks really good. Okay, Thrawn, I'm going deep. We must wait and watch. This is what Thrawn sounds like. He sounds like this, yes. But anyway, so he's got Architects of Their Own Destruction. I want you to know failure as his 3-pip, and we must wait and watch. The 1-pip has got a lot of text on it. At the start of something, enemies do something to... all right, we can all speculate. This would be a fun one to speculate on what this card will do with all of this stuff. I'm sure the community will be able to figure it out. I want you to know failure is very short. It's going to be very simple. Probably a very good card. And then we must wait and watch. No units. And you can divulge this one, resolve. I haven't even read it when they came out. I'm just I'm just looking at it now. Permanent. You can choose 3 Imperial Allied units. They gain reinforcements this game. Okay. You can't, and also it can't be selected during the command phase. When an enemy unit ends its activation, you may discard this card. If you do, choose a non-suppressed, non-panicked allied unit within 2 of the enemy unit. The chosen unit may make a free move or attack action. Oh, that is so good. It's like a super standby that you can do whenever you want, right? And so the thing is, they know you have it. They know it's mind games to the nth degree. I love this one. We must wait and watch. That's a cool card, and that's a really good reason to bring Thrawn. That might be his most popular card. It currently is right now, since that's the only one we know what it does. That is hilarious. Wow. Okay. Imperial High Command. All right, we got to look at Tarkin here. He has Pulling the Strings. I think I predicted that they were going to give him Pulling the Strings, but it's only for an Imperial Trooper. So you can't... I think it was already like that. I don't know if there was a situation where Palpatine could have used it on a mercenary or something like that, but yeah, you have to be an Imperial Trooper. You can't do it on a Merc, which makes sense. The Mercs aren't going to listen to him. They don't care about him, but the Empire does. My only thing is that they gave him very white cuffs in the art there. Like, why are his cuffs so white? I don't know if they just like, is he wearing a tuxedo? Is he going to a wedding after this? He's like, I need to get off this shift so I can change out of these clothes and get my party on. I don't know. I just feel like that's, that's weird. And he's Entourage Darth Vader. Yeah. Unless you don't divulge. Hold on a second. Well, maybe I have to reread Divulge. Divulge doesn't, at least when Divulge first came out, like you could, some Divulge cards said you had to do something with them, but I think if you divulge, it goes back to your hand, right? Or maybe it's maybe they go away now. I'll have to reread the rulings for Divulge. Tarkin, he may only have 2 command cards. Moment of Triumph, which is a very good one. It's also another Divulge card. And so is Fear will keep them in line. Resolve setup effect step, permanent. When an allied Imperial unit is issued an order, it has demoralize 1 at the end of the round. Or you can... Divulge is it's an optional... I got to reread all of Divulge, because I haven't been using any Divulge cards in a long time. So Divulge may work differently now. I don't know if you lose the card if you Divulge or not, but... It's definitely, or it may get some reworking. Again, there's a whole new rules update that they just posted. The Divulge may work differently tomorrow than it did yesterday. Allied Imperial units have demoralized 1 this round if you just play it normally. So demoralize is okay. I'm not as crazy about these cards. I have to see the 1 pip. If you don't, you're saying if you don't divulge, they won't know if you have it. That's very smart. Very, very good. Very good suggestion. The chat, you guys are all over it. We got to look at the regular generic wheel bike. They have an Overrun 2, which is very nice, at 3 dice each. Then they have the double laser cannons, which is red, white. And you're going to have 2 guys here. So this is going to be red, white, red, white. They have Surge to Hit, red defense, AI dodge, armor 1, climbing vehicle, and mobile. So not like that amazing. This would be more impactful if... This is one of those reasons I don't like the new card design, because there's no reason we can't have the points on here also. There's no reason we can't have the upgrades on the side. They could have shrunk the card's profile by 5% and made room for everything else, but we've got to put some things on the back just to make spoilers more crazy. I don't know. I'm not like... because it doesn't tell you enough about the card. Hondo, Anaka, and Weequay Pirates, we've already seen them, but we got to look at... And we've already seen Hondo. I've already unboxed him. We got a video for that on the channel if you want to take a look at Hondo. Interesting thing is, if you got the early version of Hondo, and then you can build... There's a version of Hondo that comes in here. If you build him as a generic Weequay commander, you then get 2 units out of this, which is an interesting thing. Or you can just magnetize it and run however you want. Or run him as a generic Weequay commander. Yeah, the Weequay Pirates they're mercenaries. You're going to get 4. They're kind of standard core. Health 1, Courage 1, Search for Defense, and Speed 2, Versatile Blasters, which is kind of nice. They have Charge, so you want to charge into melee, but then you can shoot out. Independent Aim 1. Oh, that's so interesting to have Charge with Versatile, and your ranged attack is better, so you can kind of protect yourself by getting into melee and then shoot out of it. Like, haha, you can't shoot me back, right? Isn't that weird? Wow. That is a very cool thing about... Maybe that's why the super unit... They talked about the super unit of these guys was so busted, because if you had a whole massive... 2 dice per... And then you're looking at 9 guys. You're looking at 8, almost 20 dice or something like that, depending on what heavy you put in here. That can now move in and just touch one guy, and now they get to shoot somebody else with a massive load and can't even be shot back. So I don't know. Maybe they won't have the, and what are they going to cost? Independent Aim 1 is already going to be good. Swashbuckler. I don't know if we know what Swashbuckler does yet. I don't know if they've previewed that. It might be in the updated rules. We got a better look at the tank. 10 health, 6 resiliency. It's a heavy. It is speed 1. No offensive surge, but search for defense with white saves. With armor 5, though. So armor 5 is pretty good. Big shots will still get pretty consistent damage through to it, however. Arsenal 2. which is good. It's got anti-personnel lasers at distance 1 to 2, and then heavy laser cannon at distance 1 to 3. So if you're at distance 2, you can shoot everything without even taking any upgrades. I don't know what it's going to cost. I don't know what kind of guns it's going to have. Obviously, it's going to have some probably different gunner slots because you have different gunner options that you can put in here: Black Sun or Pikes or Pirate or whatever. It's got weak point 2 for the rear. And it can transport, so that's going to be very helpful. Also, the weakways are getting their own battle force, right? They're going to be it's going to be a new Raiders battle force, and that is coming, which is pretty cool. Battle Deck Card Pack 2. This one is coming. By the way, these are all going to be print and play. And I think they're going live like right now. So I'm not even going to get too deep into those because there's a whole lot to break down. But that looks very cool. In addition to the primary and secondary, you're also getting faction-specific. You're getting those faction-specific advantages, starting with 1 per faction, and those are all going to be free on the website. It sounds like there's going to be more that won't be print and play. Then they're just going to give you 1 per faction normally, and then the rest you can do. But I'll print and play them all anyway. Upgrade Card Pack 2 is going to have some more stuff. Now, they gave us some of these early, and there's going to be more coming in here. These are also, I think they said that these are also going to be print and play. They're going to be available. It's an interesting choice that they're doing so many of the card packs print and play, and so like the cards are just optional. But this is getting us Rex and Callus and Kraken and some of these other guys into units, which is really cool. And Cassian Andor, flipped version. Like, how cool is this? It's very cool. Very, very cool that they're doing all of this. I love that. I can't wait to dig deeper into the website files and see everything that's there. We're getting 2 new battle forces, the 212th Attack Battalion and a Stormtrooper Battalion. 212th Attack Battalion is going to be Obi-Wan and Cody in the 212th, and it's going to be a very mixed arms. 3 heavies if you want to run 3 tanks. Are the tanks ever going to come back in stock? You know. Well, I will say that with all of this, there wasn't really a new... there wasn't a new roadmap. Like, we don't see a timeline. Maybe they're just saving that for Adepticon. Some things had a timeline. 3 sabers. Yeah. Well, they said you can take 3 heavies in the 212th Battle Force. So, yeah, that's one of the things that they said that you can do. We'll see how that works. Yes, and you know, Mace Windu is coming. This is definitely a Jango Fett spoiler, though. This is Jango Fett's visor. I didn't catch this at first. When I saw this, I was drawn. All of my attention went straight to the middle, to Jango in the face, and I just thought that this was like a droid that he was slicing in half. Yes, we're getting Jango Fett also, but we don't know how, when, or where. So Jango's confirmed. So that's cool. But yes, Mace Windu is coming in the Jedi Council pack. We're getting Plo Koon. We're getting Ki-Adi-Mundi. We're getting Mace Windu. And how is she going to die this time? Shakti. Which death is actually the canon death, or is she still alive? Geonosis Battle Force. Yeah, the weird thing is, do you put Jango Fett in a Geonosian Battle Force? Do you do that because the Geonosians don't like bounty hunters? Remember, Dooku's like, there's no bounty hunters here. The Geonosians don't like them, don't trust them, or whatever. I think you can. I mean, it might make sense, but it might not. They need to do more Geonosian stuff, frankly. But this is going to be a great pack. I can't wait to see this pack. Very, very happy to see this pack. Does this mean we're also going to get like a Wolf Pack Battle Force, right? Yeah. I think so. I think that's a great option. All right. They said mounted Jedi. I was thinking for sure we were going to see Obi-Wan on like a Varactyl or something. And no, on a Bark of all things. You know, of all things, we're getting this. But it looks cool. And I think they said that Anakin is going to be an operative in this pack. Very, very cool. So this gives you some really cool options. Also, you can run a generic Jedi on the Bark. But it says you have the option to build one this way. Of course, people are going to build it out this way, right? Unless there's also incentive to buy 2 of these packs so you can build out 2 regular Jedi. Is there enough for you to build 2 Jedi on Bark Speeders out of that same pack? How is that all going to work? You know, I wanted more information on this pack. It sounds like it sounds like you may want to be doing some magnetization on and put a magnet in each of their butts, so this way you can run them both that way. Although my guess is that the version that they're showing you here is that this is the guy on Obi-Wan's, because his Bark Speeder is right side up. Anakin's is tilted to the side, which does look really cool with his hair blowing in the wind and stuff. So yeah, they did a really cool job with that. Who had their money on not only Grievous being in the leaders of the Separatist Alliance pack, but that it was going to be oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank on Trench's name? It's Trench, yeah. Okay. Trench was going to be in there. It was, somebody said it in chat early on. I don't remember who that was, but that was a great call. But yeah, that was a big surprise. I thought Wat Tambor before Trench. I think I wanted Mother Talzin the most, and I thought she was a good option. But I also thought that Jango was the crowd favorite and might have been the most likely. But I think my money was on Talzin. And if either of those failed, it was going to be Wat Tambor. Because it definitely, I didn't have it on Grievous, because they said it was going to be a 4-pack, so I didn't expect 5. So that was a surprise. But then Trench was he was pretty far down the list, because he's, again, if they're trying to do somebody, he's kind of like the Separatist version of Thrawn. So I'm imagining Trench will be very much like what Thrawn is. I just don't see him on the ground ever. So, yeah. But Wat Tambor might have done that better, because Wat Tambor did ground stuff, but maybe Wat Tambor will come with a Techno Union pack. There's still those new droids that they had in the Bad Batch arc of Season 7 for Clone Wars, and, Wat Tambor fits into all of that. So there's other ways to do it. You would have a hard time trying to sell Trench by himself. So that's where he fits into this pack really well, is you wouldn't have anything anywhere else to put him if he wasn't in a big multi-pack like this. So that works. That works. Okay. We're getting scoundrel versions of Han and Chewie. I like this. They're going to be mercs. I love it. I wonder if they will be able to work with Republic. Han was too young, but Chewie was around. And there's already a Chewie that works with the Republic. But I wonder if this version as a merc Chewie could work with the Republic, or are they going to go into other battle forces? They are going into Solo, a Star Wars story. They talked about the Mud Troopers again. We'll get that. Yeah, I'm curious if we're going to get any new command cards here, or anything like that. I'm in it for the money, Will Schick said that. So I'm sure that's a command card. I'm in it for the money. But yeah. The Mimban guys, we're getting a new battle force with these guys, which is also very cool. They're going to be the 224th Mimban Armored Assault Division. So this sounds like they're going to be kind of detachments. They're going to you've got your Imperial Mud Troopers. It looks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm guessing kind of like a regular unit. You get your 4 core, your personnel, and then 2 heavy options. I think it's going to be a kind of, they're probably, it sounds like they're going to be cheaper. Yeah, the Empire does have a lot of battle forces. I think they do that for a reason, because I think the Empire has the most appeal for new players coming in. You're playing a big Star Wars army game. What's the biggest Star Wars army? It's Stormtroopers. Darth Vader leading Stormtroopers. What's the most, the Empire has got the most appeal. The AT-ST, best looking vehicle in the game. One of the best miniatures of all time. Right? So I think the Empire has the most draw for casual players, for new players, for kitchen table players, and for for some competitive players too. Empire suffered for a little bit, but So combine the fact that they need a little bit of love with the fact that they may be the most popular. I don't know if they're the best selling, but they're also the easiest to paint because there's so few faces. How many people just, primed their stormtroopers in white and put a black wash on them and called them done? So again, they're just so accessible to so many people. That's one of the reasons why. The wet weather stormtroopers, this one was a surprise. These guys are going to be coming with those guys. It sounds like they'll be either a detachment for the mud troopers, or they may be limited to only that battle force. I don't think they'll be limited to only that battle force, though, if they're going to be in a standalone expansion, because they have their whole SWQ number. So I think they're going to be they'll have something. They won't be, if they were going to be required by these guys, then they wouldn't be a standalone purchase. Why would you buy something that you're not allowed to field unless you run something else, right? So they'll probably just get some kind of some kind of extra bonus to work with the mud troopers. That's my guess. Seems cool though. The Guerrilla Troopers was also a big surprise. I did not have this on my bingo card at all. This is something completely new that they worked with LFL to make. I think it's interesting. I'm going to withhold judgment a little bit. It seems like it's got potential. Seems like this would have been, this might have been like a Cara Dune type of character, right? Even though she was a drop trooper or whatever, this seems like it's right up her alley, so to speak, or inspired by her type of character. And this will probably allow for a lot of customization, because you can say, hey, these guys painted their armor green, and so they're not going to run the regular white. Rebels with red saves. I think this is something that was designed because they said, hey, Rebels need a core that has a red save or something like that. I can see the gameplay hole for it. I just I don't know if it out of all the thematic things that people want from the shows, the movies, and everything like that, like me saying I want Gungans and things like that. Out of all the things that people want for thematic reasons, I don't think anybody was asking for, Rebels and Stormtrooper armor as a unit in Legion. But from a gameplay perspective, I can see the desire to get red saves on Rebels. Although I thought that maybe, when they announced that, hey, you can put these different heroes, and Cassian Andor can go into a Rebel unit now. Maybe there's a way to do that upgrades, maybe a Jedi can go in there that can upgrade, and you use the Force to give them red saves or something like that. But yeah, it's surprising. So there we go. And at least in the case of these guys, they will look different than the other Rebels. I just want Fleet Troopers to get a different upgrade, and they ended with the Ghost Crew as a teaser. Very happy about this. I talked to Will Schick about this a long time ago. There's a lot of, ever since the Bad Batch, the door's been open to do these guys with the new upgrades that let somebody go in somewhere else. Totally works. There's a door to make these guys run a lot of different ways. They can give them individual upgrades. They can go into a squad. They should be able to run as a whole unit. They should be able to also split off into maybe 2 subunits, like Kanan and Ezra go one way, and then Hera and Chopper go another way, or something like that. I can't wait to see what decisions they've made with how they want to implement these guys into Legion. I could see a battle force, like the Phoenix, or any of the, any of the different stuff. Sato could then come in and work here. Callus for the Rebels could come in and work here. There's a lot of doors that this opens up. And it's great. It's great. I'm very happy with it. Yeah. Seeing what they do with War Crimes McGee will be interesting. Of course, that is Chopper you talk about. That's very, very funny. Love it. Rebels. Yeah. So, it's exciting. That's Ministravaganza, folks. There's a whole lot to process, a whole lot to break down. We're going to be bringing a lot more of this from you. Go back and watch my predictions video and see how many things I got right and how many things I got wrong. There's definitely some things that I called. I think I said I was hoping to see the Ghost Crew, but there's a lot of things they didn't do. We did get points. We did get new. They're doing some new point. They're gonna be looking at Wookiees finally. I'm happy to see that they're going to look at Wookiees. And maybe there's a way for some different heroes to go into Wookiees. That would be incredible. You know, if Han Solo could go into a Wookiee unit, like that'd be awesome. Yeah, a lot of little things like that. I'd love to see more of that. Yeah, Moff Gideon going down a lot. Aqua Droids going up 13 points. That's a big deal too. There's so much, and I'm just running out of words on how to talk about it. We got one more update. We're going to do the last giveaway. It's for the Defiant. This is a promo for Star Trek Into the Unknown. This is it's really just a Defiant model. You don't have to play the game. You can just set it up on its stand and fly it around. It gives you an idea of what a small ship in that game looks like. And so the winner of the Defiant giveaway is going to be Chief 81, CH3F81. Congratulations, Chief 81. Go ahead and shoot me an email at mailcrabbok@gmail.com. Let me know what you have won. And for everybody who did not win, there's plenty of time left to win. Make sure you're a subscriber. Comment on my videos. That enters you to win. We've got a lot more things that we're going to be giving away throughout December. The 12 Days of Life Day. 12 giveaways. Patrons win any gifts that go unclaimed for that. So if you're interested in joining on Patreon, links are in the description below. We'd love to have you there. You can get your name in the credits. All that good stuff. That's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dude. So say we all. And always wash yourself.